Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, man. So I can see the comments now. Yeah, so I just want to talk about this fight, man. I want to go back and forth with you guys in the comment section. Uh, and kind of give our opinions on this, man. So this is why I wanted to go live on this one. So yeah, like I started off the other video, like I was saying, the guy that I think will approach or Joshua, the guy who I think he will kind of take some out of his book, although he's a bigger fighter, taller, longer reach. I know he's a totally different fighter than Andrew Ruiz Jr., but Ruiz Jr.'s approach was to put up the high guard, use the 1-2, and he was sticking that jab out there on Parker. I thought that was his best punch of the fight was when he was using his jab. And then when Parker tried to get close with him, that's when Ruiz would try to, in certain spots of the fight, he'd try to fight out of it. And I think Joshua would do similar things. I know they're different fighters. I'm not saying they're the same fighter, but their mental approach, I think, is will be the same. I mean, obviously, we don't know until fight night, but um, a lot of fans they want to look at the Huey Fury fight. To me, those styles totally different. Although Ruiz, like I said, is a shorter fighter, shorter reach. Fury is just the same height as AJ, but he fights totally different. He likes to dance around, use lateral movement in and out. Um, likes to peck away with the jab. We know how he likes to fight, and that is not Anthony Joshua. At the most, when he goes backwards, what I've seen is he likes to take a step back, half step back, maybe two step backs, keep the high guard up, and then he'll try to counter you as you're trying to attack him. That's what I've seen him do in the Klitschko fight and some of the other fights that he did take a slight step back, maybe Dillian White, something like that. But um, he's not gonna be dancing around. You know what I mean? In that fight, though, uh, there's a punch that I thought Fury could have landed on Parker had he sat down and actually would shoot it, and that was the uppercut. Because Parker was coming forward, he was trying to make a dust up of it, and Fury was using his back foot, moving away, trying to score and land like that, right? So I thought he could have landed the uppercuts a few times. I thought Parker was coming in kind of with his chin over his feet a little bit, trying to initiate the action. I thought he could have got caught with some uppercuts. Now, if he comes in like that against Joshua will let that uppercut go. And if Parker doesn't see it, he can uh, be dropped, be seriously hurt. Um, so I don't think there's really much you can take away from the Fury fight. I'm going to read you guys' comments in a minute, but that's just my opinion on that. Uh, right now, watching Joshua, I've seen, we've all watched these fights 1,000 times, man. So I've been watching Parker, watching AJ. Right now, I'm actually watching the Joshua versus Dillian White fight. And, well, just like when I was watching the Ruiz and Parker fight, though, he's doing it in this fight, but also notice that in that fight is Ruiz, because of his shorter reach, although he was able to touch Parker with the jab, he really couldn't land good straight right hands. And I was thinking to myself, like, man, if that's AJ in that position, he has a longer right hand and it's just if just as quick, or if not quicker. We sometimes we look at Ruiz when we break down who guys have the fastest hands in the division. I think Ruiz has pretty decent hand speed as a heavyweight, but I think Joshua's right hand will probably get there a little bit quicker because of the way he delivers that right hand, and it's going to come right over the top. Maybe he blinds Parker with the jab, and then he's able to find a home for his long right hand versus Ruiz, who was throwing his right hand but is coming up a little bit short. Uh, See, and then there's certain fights where AJ he'll be a little bit more technical with his approach, and then sometimes he gets in there he's trying to make a dust up of it. Like right here in the Dillian White fight, he was having his hands down a little bit. He wasn't keeping his hands up near his chin as you see when he starts off fighting like Charles Martin and Dominic Brazil, even the Klitschko fight. This fight he want to make a dust up. Look at this first round 37-second mark. He's going at it with Dillian White. His hands are literally at his chest level, like chest level when he's coming forward. And that's how he got and ended up getting caught in this fight. And the punch that caught him, man, is shots that I think Parker can land. Short shots. Uh, land short shots. left hooks, straight right hands, looping right hands. If he can loop it like a short loop and catch Joshua as he's coming forward, letting his punches go. Joshua doesn't have the best head movement. I know to me he's more of a guy that likes to catch with his gloves and slip. He's not really a I'm going to duck and bend and bob and weave. I'm not saying he doesn't have the ability to do it, but I'm can he do it for majority of the round, going a full 12 or being pressed? In the Klitschko fight, when Klitschko was being so predictable with those, when he hurt after he hurt Joshua and Joshua was tired in that fight, Klitschko started to be predictable with those left hooks he was trying to leap in with. It was to the point where you seen him coming a mile away, and Joshua just fighting instinct, he just ducked, and he was so gassed when he was doing it, man. He was actually ducking, and his face was literally looking right at the ground. I was like, man, why don't Klitschko fake the leaping left hook and throw an uppercut? But I know in the heat of the moment, man, he was trying to go to his money punch, because if you watch that fight with AJ and Klitschko, Klitschko was landing some good chopping left hooks that the crowd was so loud, and it looked like the Sky, when you watch it on Sky, looked like they were missing it. Roy Jones, when I watched HBO, Roy Jones called out. He's like, "Ooh, Klitschko landed some hooks," and they were just short hooks. And I was like, "Ooh, shit, he's catching AJ right on the chin with them hooks, man." But Joshua was taking them. But that's why I thought Klitschko was trying to go to that punch over and over again, because he was having success with it early in that fight with AJ. Let me go ahead and read some of y'all's comments, man. Ahmed Abraham says team hashtag Team Parker. Hashtag don't need a rematch clause. Gotti Box was good. He says, can't wait for this fight. Black Horseman Promotion says, oh, there we go. Pop Player, what's up, man? Hop, he says, nah, I can hear you, but not see anything. Yeah, I've tried to do the live stream with the camera on my face as I'm talking. Then when I do that, it cuts out. So I don't know if I don't know. But I've tried that shit before. EJ Craver says, can't wait. It could be a lot closer than people think. I think it's going to be a close fight, man. I'm picking, I got Joshua winning a tough decision. I think it's going to go to decision. I think it's going to be like a 116, 112 type of fight. I think it'll be a competitive fight, but I think Joshua will win a clean decision. That's what I'm going with. Um, you got big guys in there, man. They're going to be throwing some heavy leather. But I just think this type of fight goes to decision. I think that I don't think Joshua, even if he does, I don't think he's going to be able to just steamroll Joseph Parker. I'll be very impressed if he's able to do it, but I don't see him steamrolling him if Parker moves his head, gives Joshua something else to look at. He's not standing straight up. Kind of use what Takum did. Now, I thought Takum made Joshua think a little bit. I'm not saying it was a close fight, or I'm not saying that, but Joshua, to the point, and credit to him because he switched it up, he started jabbing Takum's body to just give Takum a different look and set up different ways to land his right hand, which I was, like, man, that was a good adjustment right there. Because at first it looked like he was trying to headhunt. Oh, see, it was that chip. It was a little short, little left hook that caught Joshua in his that caught Joshua in his Dillian White fight. That's what buzzed him. After he hit White with a good right hand, he was stalking and walking him down. Didn't see it coming. Those are the type of shots I think Parker has the quickness to land. You don't have to match him with your reach. Shit, he has longer reach than you. Okay, cool. Then you got to do other things. I believe you have the faster hands. So use that to your advantage. And another thing I was thinking is punch when AJ is punching. Because to me, I think he has a faster hands. I'm not saying sit there and go have a 7-punch exchange with them, although that'd be great for us, the fans, to watch. But I'm saying when Joshua throws his 1-2s, you have to be confident that, hey, man, I'm the quicker puncher, so punch when he's punching. And maybe that can discourage him from trying to walk you down, because I do think Joshua is going to try to walk him down behind the jab, but I think he's going to come forward and probably not press him to the limit the first round, but test him. I think he's going to test him, man. I think he's going to test Parker to see, does he have the chin? Does he have the firepower? And Parker's going to have to discourage him some way, somehow. Either, with a good shot to make him back the hell up, or his movement. Will his movement throw AJ off? to where AJ starts to reach and lunge and not be so sure on how to attack Parker. And body shots. When these guys go to the bodies, or will they headhunt? Napoleon Bonaparte says respect from Scotland, long time subscriber. That's what's up, man. Shouts out to Scotland. Mr. Dex Factor 87 says, I wanted Joshua to win because I wanted him to be undefeated when him and Wilder fought. But due to Joshua bitch assness lately, I hope Parker knocks his block off. And I think you're talking about Joshua and his whole statement coming out saying if Wilder enters the ring, he should do it with a signed contract, and he doesn't want it to be about hype. All right, so a lot of fans don't want to hear that. Then you have a lot of other fans say, hey, he's right. You know, when he fought Klitschko and when Klitschko came in the ring, he had a contract. So that shows that the fight is going to be made. You know, but at the same time, though, man, there's nothing wrong with hype. There's nothing wrong with hyping a fight, getting fans even more behind it. Just like some of you fans think if Wilder should fight Dillian White first to hype the fight. To me, I think beating Ortiz was good enough. Shit, I rated Ortiz higher than Dillian White, so I don't see what I mean. Not to say that it's a bad fight. I would like to see Wilder fight Dillian White one day, but not right now. I just want to see Wilder take on the winner of this unification fight, but I don't know what the chances of that happen don't really seem right now, that they just don't seem high. But I think the fight will take place eventually. Who knows? Um, but yeah, so I get what you're saying about Joshua. Joshua got to get through Parker first, man. This shit isn't a foregone conclusion. He has to get through Parker first. Intriguing fight, man. I was one of those fans that actually wanted this fight to happen. When shit, how long ago was this? This was before Joshua won the title. It was when the WBO, I believe both these guys were rated 1 and 2 at one point for the WBO title, and Parker came out with that Instagram video where he challenged Joshua to a fight, and the winner will get the mandatory WBO spot. So it's funny, man. Had they, let's say they made that fight, that would have just been for the mandatory position. And now both of these guys are in a spot where the winner will walk away with 3 titles. And I'm not counting that IBO. I see a lot of fans say, yeah, and he's the IBO. It's like, what? You don't need the IBO to become undisputed. Maybe one day they may make it a recognized title by the other 4 sanctioning bodies, but uh, nah, you don't need that to be undisputed, man. So yes, I understand that other good fighters have held that title, great fighters, even some great fighters, but it's not recognized by the other 4. So I don't get why people bring that IBO shit up. Although the IBO rankings isn't that bad, it looks no different than the other sanctioning bodies, but right now it's not a part of the criteria to be undisputed. Joshua Mentinka says, hey, Mr. Boxing, all the way from New Zealand. What's up, man? My Kiwi fans out there. Hop says, in my honest opinion, if Parker makes Joshua struggle, then AJ is not all that people have hyped him to be. I don't know, man. I think that's taking a slight on Joseph Parker, though, man. Parker's not a bad fighter. I mean, in today's era, from what I see, him comparing him to the other fighters, he's not a bad fighter. I don't, that's just my opinion. I don't know if some fans are trying to compare these guys to guys in from the 90s or 80s or whatever, but for today's climate, he isn't a bad fighter, in my opinion. He has uh, good pedigree and background. He has a good trainer that's been around the game, guy that trained David Tua, guy that was an Olympian. Um, Parker has fast hands. Uh, got a little pop. He doesn't seem like a huge one punch knockout artist, but he's still 240 pounds, man. It's not like this guy is some cruiserweight that's trying to masquerade as a heavyweight. I mean, he's not some small guy. He isn't 6'8", 6'9", but shit, he's still 6'4", 240, man. And if he hits you with something that you don't see coming, I believe he can put guys asleep. But his last few fights, man, he had to go in there and put his hard hat on and bite down that mouthpiece and grind out some decisions. You're not gonna be able to knock everybody out. I know in this case, Joshua stopped everybody he's fought, and you got Wilder who's knocked out every guy he's been in there with. So, but you guys get what I'm saying though. 95% of people are not gonna fighters are not gonna go in there and knock everybody out. You're gonna have to grind some decisions, and to me, it shows that he's durable. It's showing me that he's durable. He can adapt to certain situations. And if he has to win a decision, he's comfortable with it and he knows how to do it. Um, Now, I'm not saying that you have to go in there and make extra rounds for yourself. Some dudes want to go in there and knock dudes out. You know, as they always say, you don't get paid overtime. Pop Player says, I believe Parker got to win by KO. I don't think he wins on points. He had to go in there and thoroughly dominate him. I think if he goes in there, he was to thoroughly dominate him. I think they would have no choice but to give it to him, man. I just, I really don't think it's going to end by knockout. Just something about it. I just don't think it's going to end by knockout. I think it's going to be a little chess match at first, man. Them trying to figure each other out. I don't see AJ going in there steamrolling this guy because he's athletic. He can move. Um, and Parker's somebody, he's been in there with some, although not in the pros, but as far as sparring, and I know sparring, but he's a guy that's been in there with Klitschko and years ago, and I heard good things about Parker and some of his sparring with Klitschko. So he's been tested, although not, I know in a pro fight, but I'm just saying though. And shit, he's got hit with some good shots, man, and he stayed up. Ruiz isn't the biggest puncher, but that kid got a little snap on his punches, man. He landed some good shots on Parker, and Parker took him, same thing. Hop says, anyone know Joshua's current weight? I hear he has really lean out. Instagram looked like it. I believe the last I heard he was two. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I believe like a week or so ago he was like 242 pounds or something like that. Um, it's just funny, man. Like that he's losing. That he's trimming down a little bit. Because I remember I came out with a video and there was a section of fans, including myself, where we was saying like, shit, man. He could lose a little bit of just slim down a little bit. People are saying, no, you know what you're talking about. He has a world title. Who are you? Just an internet guy. It's like, and then now this is what he's doing. So uh, it doesn't necessarily mean the bigger you are, the better you're going to be. You know what I mean? But I think just being a little bit more fluid couldn't hurt. He's done a great job up to this point. The kid's still undefeated. He's a unified champion. So obviously he's doing something right. You know what I mean? But it doesn't hurt being a little bit more fluid. Everybody can add something to their game, right? And I think losing weight will make him a little bit more fluid. I think he's as strong as he's going to be. I mean, how much more stronger can Anthony Joshua get? I mean, look at this dude, man. How much stronger can he get? Uh, as far as, but we'll see how, you know, we'll see what he tries to come out and do. I think he's trying to train for the long haul of a fight. Maybe he knows that, man, Parker's the type of guy that can get me to 12. Plus, the guy has gone 12. I've seen it with my eyes that he can go 12 coming forward. And that's the thing. He can go 12 doing different things, whether he's trying to hunt down a guy like he's trying to hunt down Fury, or where he had to back up a little bit, use a jab, tie up, go back, back and forth a little bit with Ruiz. He went 12 rounds two different ways. Some guys will fall apart if they have to go 12 rounds off their back foot. Some guys may fall apart trying to go 12 rounds coming forward. So he can kind of do both. Even the Kanjanu fight, you know what I mean? Some people may say, oh, he should have knocked him out. And, yeah, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but he didn't. You know what I mean? Whole story about that too, though, man, because Kanjanu, funny about that fight is some of you probably already know this, but him and Kajanu had sparred like 50 something rounds getting Parker ready for Fury. Then when it was said that Fury was not going to fight him, then Kanjanu stepped in, a guy who he was just literally just using for his main sparring partner. He fights him within a few weeks, or was it a week or some shit like that? So that was crazy, man. I don't think I've ever heard that, where you're training for a fight and your main sparring partner in your camp fills in as a replacement for that fight. I don't think I've ever heard that. 46 people watching, man. Only 16 thumbs up. Let me get a little bit more thumbs up, man. Read some more of these comments here. Gareth Wigmore says, why are so many people focusing on Joshua's alleged weaknesses like his chin and stamina rather than focusing on Parker's recent awful performances? I guess you do that when you're trying to just break down weaknesses and his strengths, not just his weaknesses, but his strengths. I can't speak for everybody. I'm not sure why everybody just focuses on that, but to me, it goes both ways. Nobody's perfect, man. So, um, yeah, he does have a lot of strengths. To me, he has good fundamentals, good techniques. The dude can hit hard. Um, I like the way he shoots his jab when he uses it consistently during the fight. Like the some of his best spots against Vlad was not only when he was hitting him with power shots, but when he was to me when for me it was when he was pushing that jab out there, not necessarily flicking it, but he was pushing it, and he was keeping Vlad a little bit off balance a little bit. You know what I mean? So I like that. I like that when he gets when guys get close up on him, he doesn't fall apart. He can throw good combinations. There's a lot of pluses to AJ, man, when he's in the ring fighting. But then sometimes there's some, it look like he moves his head quick enough. Um, and I think he may not like it to the body. There's a few times I've seen him give some good body shots, but you can say that about anybody. Damn near no fighter likes it to the body. Nobody's sitting there saying, "Hey, hit me in my rib cage." You know what I mean? So, but plus and minuses for everybody, man. And to me, like, and then people say he had awful. You say Parker had awful performances. Uh, were they spectacular? No, they wasn't spectacular. I thought both. I thought the Takum fight and the Ruiz fight, I had him winning 7-5. So going tough decisions against both of those guys. But at the end of the day, though, Takum's not some pushover in this era. In this little era, he's not some pushover, man. Like Takum is tough. That is a tough dude, man. Like, so if you got to squeak one by Takum, for me, there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, you want him to go out there and look spectacular, but there's nothing wrong with that. Andrew Ruiz Jr., as pudgy as he looks, and that's a tough kid, man. Andrew Ruiz got some quick damn hands. I know you look at the just his physique and you think, oh, he's a bum. I mean, if that's what you want to say, but man, that's a tough kid. I mean, he has a good chin. He can take as good as he dishes out. Now, does he have a resume full of world beaters? No, but he has quick hands. Um, and a lot of guys, I wanted to see him fight Ortiz when Ortiz offered him the fight. He didn't want to take the fight because he only had like 2 weeks to train for it. He said he wanted like a 4 to 6 week training camp or 4 to 8 weeks or some training camp. But nobody's really calling to fight Ruiz like that. Now, Jarrell Miller went in the ring on Ruiz and called him out after the the Josh Gormley fight out there in Detroit, Michigan. He jumped in the ring and called him out. But I just seen an interview from Ruiz and he accepted the challenge. Then I forgot the name of that YouTube channel, man. But if you type in Ruiz calls out Jarrell Miller, it'll pop up. So I don't know, man. To me, Ruiz isn't just a complete pushover. I'm not trying to put him up like he's top. I don't think he's top five, but he's not no pushover, man. He proved it against Parker. You know what I mean? Like what? I mean, you can say he hasn't fought nobody. Okay, he fought Parker, and he proved it that he's not a pushover. So decent fights to me, man. Decent wins. Did he knock him out? No, he didn't knock him out. But shit, he did what he had to do. He still has his, he won the title, and he ended up getting his title shot. So Joshua Mentinka says, I was wondering why we had Malik Scott in his sparring camp. Um, Malik Scott, man, you guys heard me. A lot of you guys have heard me say this before, and I think I'm spot on with it. Some of you may disagree. A lot of you do agree with me about this, but as far as just technical skills, just when you watch, I'm talking about just watching guys train, looking at their fundamentals. Malik Scott has some of the best fundamentals in the heavyweight division. Now, now the bright lights, big fights, I know he doesn't live up to that. But I'm just saying, as far as just, and this, I'm just saying, as far as skill, that dude has some damn good skill, Malik Scott. Even when you watch him train, the way he can move his head, good footwork, uh, throws good combinations. He just doesn't put it all together. Uh, and some people have actually questioned his heart. I've seen a lot of fans question his heart in the comment section in some of his fights. But as far as just skill and ability, man, Malik Scott is up there. So I thought Scott was useful. I know he was in the camp when Parker was getting ready for Huey Fury, and to me, I can understand why. Because Malik Scott can move on his back foot to some to some fans a little bit too much, way too much, like in the Ortiz fight. But he has that ability. He could do that shit for 24 rounds. You know what I mean? But he doesn't sit down enough on his punches, man, and try to put them together. In my opinion, he's not. You know, yeah. Watch, for those of you who don't know, watching this Joshua White fight, man, and Joshua's savage in there, man. He stuck his when he got Dillian White hurt, he stuck his tongue out. Like, yeah, it's over with now. Now I'm about to knock your ass out. Joshua does have a little mean streak on the low, man. I know he comes across as this gentleman, this gentleman, but he does little things where you can tell, you know what I mean? Like, it was this fight. And there's another fight where like the ref is trying to hold him, just like on this one when the ref was trying to move him away from White after he knocked White out. Joshua kind of took his hand, like, give me my mother, give me my damn hand. It's like he has little mean streaks, or like when the ref tries to separate him from fighters before, he says break, and then the guys can keep fighting. You can see Joshua kind of push the ref. He has like this little edge about him in his fights during the fight. I'm not talking about outside the ring stuff. I'm just talking about inside the ring when I see him in fights. He does have some nastiness to him, in my opinion, at least inside the ring. EJ Craver says Mr. Boxing Joshua's way different fighter now. Plus that fight was about pride, not really a boxing match. I'm thinking you're probably talking about the Dillian White fight. You can say that, but to me, the way he fought the fight, though, he was just trying to have a dust up. Now, if it was about pride, that's cool. But as far as the way he looked in the fight, that type of fighting style, if he fights with his gloves damn near by his chest and he's trying to throw combos from that level, from that angle, um, I think Parker has a good chance of coming over the top of his gloves, man. Is coming over the top, throwing something high. Maybe that snapping left hook he likes to throw. Just short chipping shots. That's what I'm saying. It's just short chipping shot. Like some of the left hooks that, and I know it's kind of it's kind of tough comparing just some heavyweights to Vladimir Klitschko's left hook. So he had one of the best left hooks in the game, not just a heavyweight, in my opinion, at least, over the last 10 years, easy. Um, Especially when he leads with it. But anyways, those type of shots, just short shots. I think Parker has that ability to land short shots. Whether Joshua has his hands low like that by his chest or up with the high guard. It's all about catching him when he don't see it coming. Timothy Tamidi says he just gotta keep out the way of the uppercut in close. Definitely gotta keep out way of that uppercut. Definitely. Hop says anyone know Joshua's current weight? Let me see. McKeely Macambo says AJ versus Dillian White was about pride and turf rivalry. A lot of emotions were on that fight. So against Parker, it would be different. Yeah, I think his approach is going to be different, but I still think he's going to come forward and be aggressive. I'm not saying he's going to come out there like damn Joe Frazier, but I'm saying I think he's going to be aggressive and come forward behind the jab. But yeah, I know it was a little heated, but Joshua comes to hurt you though, man. He's not he's not really coming there to dance around. So it's not like if I've seen him punish dudes that he didn't have anything personal with. You know what I mean? So I know he hasn't liked some of the things that Dean Lonergan has said and Joseph Parker has said in the media, and I know it kind of it made him a little bit irritated. Man, this uppercut damn near took Dillian White's head off, man. God damn. If those ropes wasn't there, he would have smashed his head on the canvas. His head would have, yeah, his head would have hit the canvas violently, man. He's lucky he was held up by them ropes. Duke Olden 7458. What's up, man? Lawrence Williams says that was the same hook that stopped Pulev. Yeah, that left hook, man. Klitschko got a damn hook from hell, man. Yeah, just like Josh was up on the ropes after the fight, waving his hands up, and the ref tried to grab him or something, and Joshua snatched his hand away. Like when he's in that ring, I see little things he does is let me know that this dude, he is coming to hurt you. I can't take that away from the young man. He is coming when he's in that ring. He does come to get it. Fluffy Snow Doggo says, easy work for Joshua. Parker hasn't stepped up and challenged himself. He's too green and under experienced. No, I think the experience is right, man. He's been fighting since he was a kid, been an amateur for years. It's about that time. He had good, a good, solid veteran fighter to test himself, and that was Carlos Takam. I think we're undermining some of these other guys, y'all. Like, I, now I'm not saying all of you, man, but sometimes I read the comments, I just think like, man, maybe some of these fans have just like really start watching the division, and that's cool if you have. If you started back watching it or just started to watch it in 2015 when guys start winning titles, okay, that's cool. But it's like Takam is solid, man. Is he a world beater? No, but he is solid. Watch the Pavek. I know he got knocked out by Pavekin, but he's had some good wins too. He's a solid fighter. He's been in the sanctioned body top tens. I know a few times, a few years ago, a couple years ago, BoxRec had him in the top 10. I know some of you don't put a lot of stock in BoxRec, but he comes in shape. Good head movement. I used to call him. I call him a poor man's version of James Toney because he in some of his fights, like the Povetkin fight, when he was giving Povetkin the shoulder and shoulder rolling and catching and countering, that was a pretty entertaining fight. He got caught because he was trying to, he tried to fight Povetkin in close. But they were giving and taking in that fight, man. Good skill set, good chin. You see he fights with heart. You see how he fought Joshua, so he doesn't come to lay down for nobody. That's a solid dude. And then Ruiz was one of the up and coming contenders. To me, shit, it's not far fetched if Ruiz were to go in there and beat Dillian White or Jarrell Miller or any of them. I wouldn't consider that an upset. So to me, those were decent. Those are some good fights for Parker. Good fights. So step up to what Joshua. I mean, shit, they're going to fight. So they're stepping up against each other to fight another undefeated fighter in a unification fight. See some more comments here. Y'all let me know. I'm gonna keep scrolling down, but I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about the fight, man. We go back and forth on this. My word, my word ain't gold. I want to hear what y'all got to say too, man. Haters have opinions says I might bet on Parker. Let me see here. Greg G says I expect Parker to be better than previous performance, but after watching all his fights, I can't really see much from him. You don't think he got quick hands? Lawrence Williams says Parker can also set traps for Joshua and land some quick combos. Yeah, gonna have to use that hand speed to his advantage, man. In both ways though, countering and just getting off first. Getting off first. Gonna have to give AJ something to think about, man. You gotta get that dude something to think about because AJ just coming forward and setting you up and just using his jab and it's going, man. That's you're gonna get slaughtered up in there. You gotta give him something to think about, something to make him think. Whether, like I said, your count or just some movement, something. You don't, it could be just movement or jab or just something. Right now, I'm watching the Joshua Klitschko fight. Yeah, it's like when you do pressure AJ. See, like in this fight versus the Dillian White fight, he's keeping that guard up, that right hand up by his chin. When he is going back, he's shooting a jab or he's extending his arm out there to kind of keep you at bay. But he's doing all, and then like he'll drop down a little bit in his stance. He's not standing straight up. And he's aware, he's well aware of what's going on. He's trying to be in control of the situation. He's not out there just winging punches. He's trying to set things up. And this is what I read some more of these comments. Joshua Mantinga says Parker hits harder than White. I believe he does. I haven't been punched by either guy, but I will put my money on Parker. He seems like the harder puncher, at least with the eye test. Let me see here. Gareth Wigmore says many of Parker's best fights ended with close, debatable decisions. Judging Parker by his most recent performances, he's not on Joshua's level. Okay, well, who is on Joshua's level? Makili Makambu says Wilder planned to come in the ring to confront Joshua. That's what you guys are forgetting. So hey, if you guys are asking me a question, put at Mr. Boxing today too, so I can know because I don't know if you guys are going back and forth or what's going on. D Obinuli, what's up, man? What's good? Dopamine says Parker is tough, solid, but not elite level in terms of skills, in my opinion. I think he has pretty decent skills. He fights kind of that elusive type of style, in my opinion, where he's trying to shoot the jab and throw fast combinations and move around a little bit and give you different looks. And then sometimes he likes to come forward. To me, that's when he doesn't look as skilled when he's trying to come forward and hunt you down like he was doing against Fury. Just my opinion, though. Tujo Omashi says, yes, there's nothing wrong with height, but fighters are different. I don't see Joshua jumping into the ring to promote a fight, at least not yet. The dude is staying true to his character. Okay, I mean, that's cool too, man. To me, fighters do what they have to do it if, do whatever they think they have to do to get fights made, man. If, you're the type of dude we think need to jump in the ring or make videos or go on social media to get your voice heard, then man, do what you have to do. As long as you're not doing something criminal, do it. Just do what you got to do. Uh, Shit, Antonio Tarver wanted his fight against Roy Jones Jr. He knew to do it. Winning just wasn't enough. He had to go confront this man, make the public look and say, "Damn, can can Tarver beat you? Can you know what I mean? Like make just the public question." Even out, when Roy Jones, after he beat John Ruiz and he won the WBA title at heavyweight, Tarver crashed the party at the presser. When am I gonna get my shot? You know what I mean? You can call it hating, or he didn't let him have his moment, or man, this is boxing, man. This isn't like some angry dad at a showing up to a sixth grade basketball team banquet because his team lost to that team in a champ. This is boxing. These guys making millions of dollars. And that type of stuff creates excitement. Remember, guys, we are in the social media era where little things like that, and that goes to Instagram or Facebook or whatever, it hits social media, is going to blow up. Take advantage of this era, man. You see what Shannon Briggs has been able to do. Now, I know he hasn't had, as far as promoting himself, you can say, oh, but it's all for nothing. He, failed a drug test. Who has he fought? I'm just saying promoting himself. That's all I'm saying. It can help you promote things, and it can, Wilder going in there and just that visual of them face to face. And Wilder can be a gentleman while going in there and say, hey, man, I want to beat your ass, or I want me and you to fight. Just like, let it be known. You know what I mean? And I think that's pretty much what he's going to do. I don't think he's going to go in there on try to go in there and do anything crazy. I think he's going to just approach him and say you want to fight him. Shit, Ortiz called him in the ring. When Wilder did that with Ortiz, that was Ortiz that was banging on his chest and pussy this and pussy that and pointing at him and telling him to come here and shit. So, you know what I mean? So, I think Wilder should go in there. There's nothing wrong with it, man. I think that'll make the internet blow up. And then you know what? As we're hyping it, then Eddie Hearn and Wilder's team, they can look and see, man, you see how this shit is on the internet right now? I'm telling you, that stadium gonna go crazy. If he's the beat Parker and Wilder goes in there and they, say, let's fight each other, let's make this fight happen, the crowd gonna be cheering like a motherfucker. Man, I guarantee you they're gonna be in there cheering like a motherfucker. Nobody's gonna be like, boo, no, we want Povetkin. Like, nobody's gonna do that. Nobody. They're gonna be cheering for that fight to happen. That's just what I think. Harsha Vardhan says, how can you say that AJ and Wilder are one of the best? They beat 40-year-old and call their career defining. I feel they are not as good as boxers from 20th century. I don't know if you're talking to me or what. See, I don't know what. Well, shit, I think AJ and Wilder are one of the or two of the best for right now in this era. I don't know what you mean. I don't know if you're talking all time. I'm not sure. But as far as this era right now, they are two of the best. You say they be 40-year-old men. Okay, them 40-year-old men were just happen to be some of the best that were still around. Now we get to see, are they the best of the other younger guys that are out there? This happens in other eras, man. When the old champions have faded out and the new up and coming guys fade them out by beating them and putting an end to their career or giving them a tough match to where they just retire, and then it's time for their era. Now, if you want to say that this era is weaker than other eras, then that's your opinion. I'm not here to try to change your mind, but I don't know what you meant by that though. Dopamine says white or brown. I'm going with white by decision, but I'm not comfortable with that pick at all. I seen some footage of Brown on Instagram. He had some little 90 R&B jams playing in the background. He was moving around the ring. Um, Pretty nimble, man. But I've seen him do that in fights though, where he's pretty nimble on his feet for a bigger guy. I'm not calling him Muhammad Ali, but pretty nimble for his size. All right. So maybe he may try to move around a little bit and frustrate Dillian White, but I'm really not sure, man, because I think White's going to bring the fight to him, and like I've said this before, you guys heard me say this. I think that's going to give Brown the best opportunity to win that fight is catching Dillian White with something as White tries to open up. That's all Brown needs, just to hit you one good time, and it can change the fight. He did it with Chigaev. And Chigai is another guy that was damn near 40 that gave Brown, but shit, Brown was damn near 40. But you guys get what I'm saying. It's because some of these guys are older, man. Doesn't necessarily mean, oh, he beat a 40. I mean, it does because it's an older man that's not in his prime. But I'm saying, though, some of these older dudes is giving these younger dudes tough fights, man. So it's good that these younger guys are getting them out of here, or, erasing them from the equation, man, and getting down to see who the best heavyweight is, and let some of these other younger guys get their crack at it too. D. Ominuli says, Mr. Boxing, did you see Joyce Palmer fight? Terrible matchmaking. Man, that fight was ridiculous, man. And I knew Palmer had no chance, but I thought he would at least last at least a round. At least. Um, yeah, that one was crazy. I mean, Joyce could literally fight next Saturday if he wanted to, man. That was a quick fight. They need to just keep. I think but I understand trying to just make them look devastating, and I know they're trying to get that fight with Chisora, so try to they want to give him a quick fight, real quick, make him look devastating, first round knockout, and they're trying to get that Chisora fight. I know I seen David Hay talking about it, um, but yeah, it's pretty funny damn fight. Fluffy Snow Doggo says Josh will be the legend that hasn't been knocked out in a decade, and Wilder was blessed with a home ref. If it was outside of America, it would be ruled a round 7 TKO for Ortiz. I guess we can, wish and coulda, shoulda, woulda, but the result was a 10th round victory for Wilder. No, that's probably not what you want to hear, but that's just what it is, man. Um, I don't know if anybody is really. Well, you say he was blessed with a ref. Well, you say he was blessed with a home ref. I guess you mean because it was in America, because Wilder is from Alabama. They were in Brooklyn. But I get what you're trying to say. If that's what you think, man, like I said, I'm not here to change nobody's mind. If that's what you think, I think he just got his ass knocked out. Ortiz did. That's what I think. And yes, Joshua beat a faded legend who, like I said, gave him a good fight even in his 40s. But he obviously, the guy is done fighting now. He retired. So what does that tell you? That the guy was giving his last go, his last hurrah, and Joshua was able to defeat him. Vlad put up a damn good fight. Could have beat most heavyweights that night. But he pushed Anthony Joshua. And Joshua showed some resilience and he won the fight. Luis Ortiz, one of the most skilled guys at the division. That you say that he beat a guy that hadn't been knocked out. Okay, but he beat a guy that at least been outboxed. It's not like Klitschko was just completely unscathed. But he did go on a historic run, him and his brother. I'm not trying to downplay that. But shit, for the last 5, 6, 7 years, I can argue that Ortiz been a top 5 heavyweight. I can literally argue that. And skill-wise, has some of the best skills in the division. And he pushed Wilder, and Wilder did the same thing he had to do. So, or he did exactly what Joshua did, and showed some resilience and got the job done. Yeah, they got the job done against older men, but they got the job done. They could have easily lost those fights, but they got it done. Brian Taylor says, Mr. Boxing, what fight you see Wilder fight next if AJ don't fight him? I think he's going to fight Dominic Brazil, or I think he'll try to fight, if not Dominic Brazil, I think he'll try to fight, or the fight to me that would make sense, if Dillian White is to beat Lucas Brown, even if Lucas Brown wins, I think just fight the winner out of that. Just fight the winner out of that. I think that'd be intriguing. I don't have the WBC rankings in front of me, but the last I checked, Brazil and White were the top two guys. So fight one of them. So that way you can satisfy uh, a lot of fans by fighting a guy that's either number one or number two in the rankings. Dillian White, you can satisfy a lot of UK fans that really, really, really want to see that fight. I want to see the fight too, but not like in a hurry like that, like a lot of the UK fans. Well, a lot of people that are fans are um, Dillian White. Um, and I think it'd be a good build up. I think Wilder wins that fight, or it's going to be the Brazil fight. And from what I'm hearing Brazil say on his Instagram, like I said, either he knows something that we don't, but he is pretty consistent with this. He keeps saying that he is going to be his mandatory. He told Wilder in one of his Instagram posts, he told Wilder, "You're not fighting AJ next. You know that I'm your mandatory." So, and I know when Brazil fought Molina, the WBC had it as a final eliminator. And then, like a few days before the fight, they switched it to. It was either a few days before or a few days after they switched it to just. It was just a eliminator, but it wasn't a final. Um, but either way, though, man, I think it's gonna be Brazil. If White wins, White. That's what I believe. But if White loses, I think it's gonna be right to Brazil. But if White wins, then I think he may explore his options and fight one of those guys. Mr. Meaner, he says Parker's definitely a live dog in this fight, but he is understandably a big underdog. Tamati says he has to get lighter just for stamina's sake. Let me see. Joshua. Mr. Meaner says Joshua hadn't prepared for a busy little guy like Takum. The weight would have been such an issue with Pulev. The weight wouldn't have been such an issue with Pulev. Yeah, I just think Taco's movement was just throwing him off a little bit. He wasn't expecting that because Brazil's not that type of mover. Charles Martin, who's pretty quick on his feet for a guy that size. Let me say nimble. I'm not gonna say he's but he's pretty nimble. But still, he doesn't have that upper body movement like Taco. I just think that movement all together was kind of just making Joshua rethink a little bit. Fluffy Snow Doggo says in a rematch, Ortiz should knock his ass out. Um, be an interesting fight. I wonder if Wilder will come out more aggressive, being that he knows for a fact now, not just he believes it, but he knows for a fact that he can hurt Ortiz, because we've seen it happen. But at the same time, though, Ortiz can hurt him. So, but not enough to get him out of there, though. James Coleman was good, man. He says when focusing on the weakness, that is your key to a victory. Bottom line. Fluffy Snow Doggo says, why does everyone say he has a weak chin? Anyone that gets clipped that clean by Klitschko goes down. Yeah, I don't think he has a weak chin. Because if he did, Klitschko would have finished him. How many guys that got in there with Klitschko with weak chins and beat him and knocked him out? Um, Corey Sanders wasn't a guy when he was in his prime that was some pushover. Uh, not. I don't believe some guy with some weak chin is gonna go in there and beat Klitschko. Not even a 40 plus year old Klitschko, in my opinion. But I do think Joshua, just like some other guys, if you hit them flush with something, their legs can do a little dance. You know what I mean? Uh, and this was a good fight right here, this Klitschko Joshua. But it's the heavyweight division, man. These dudes start throwing leather, man. They can hurt each other. You know, so like I said, their legs might do a little dance. It's just who can stand up and who can come back. They can all shit. Pretty much all of them can hit hard. Well, not as hard as some of the harder punching guys, but you guys get what I'm saying, though, man. Mr. Meaner says, "What's up? What do you think happens in the heavyweight division if Parker pulls off the upset and defeats AJ convincingly or otherwise?" Well, I think it'll be a rematch between those guys. If it's a like embarrassing like first round knockout, got destroyed, put them straight to sleep, I'm not sure they take that rematch. Maybe they wait a little bit. But if he beats them, just in a good fight, they're going back and forth, and he beats them, um, I think they'll have a rematch. And to me, I think the division's still the same. It's not like if this happens, now the division's going to change, and it's pretty much still the same, man. All these guys are coming up together. It's not like Joshua's this 10-year reigning champion, and we're waiting for him to get beat. Nah, they're all pretty much coming up the same. Wilder's had his title the longest out of all the title holders, but shit, AJ and Parker are pretty much coming up all at the same time. Timothy Tamidi says, "When will you do a Keys to Victory video?" Man, I don't know. For those of you that don't know about that, is when I pull out the heavy bag and try to show you guys some things as far as what I'm thinking. What happened in some of these fights, man. Just a little technical breakdown. I'm not sure when I'll do another one. I should do one for this fight that's going to happen between AJ and Parker. I should. Got 74 people watching, man. Let me get some more thumbs up, man. Y'all stingy on them thumbs up. Box Watch TV says maybe his performances weren't great, but he won. Yeah, I'm thinking you're talking about the Parker situation. Yeah, man. Like as long as, well, I'm not sure you're talking about, but even whoever you're talking about, everything isn't going to be, your best performance, man. Sometimes you have to grind shit out. Sometimes, man. It is what it is. You just got to grind it out. Sometimes everything's not going to be spectacular. Like you got to grind it out sometimes. And sometimes, you got opponents that come in there to win too. Nobody's coming there to lay down for you and, what I mean, be a damn welcome mat and just, let you just walk over them to, to bigger and better fights. Like guys are going to show resistance, man. They want to win too. Just as hungry. Mr. Boxing, I've never heard of the views from the Fury Parker fight on YouTube. You heard anything regarding numbers? Nope. I don't know anything about those views, man. D. Obi Newley says that was a funny Miller call out of Ruiz a while ago. It was WWE style. Yeah, me went in the ring and just grabbed the microphone. They were up there interviewing Ruiz after he won his fight, and Miller went up there and just deboed the microphone, got all in his face. Nick Lenarcre says Eddie Hearn tweeted that Joshua is at 17 stone 7 pounds today. Somebody convert that to just U.S. pounds, man. I don't know how much that is. I guess I could look it up, but I'll have a put in a converter. Matthew French says, I think AJ is addressing his weak points. This next fight will show if it's work. KMT Man says Wilder fans think AJ is an easy fight. I won't say all Wilder fans, because I should. And that's another thing. Is like if you fan of one guy, can't be a fan of the other guy. Like I think you could be fan of both. If you're riding with whoever it is, that's fine too, man. Like when you watch the basketball game, you root for a certain team, or So I get that. I'm not saying you shouldn't be fans, of us or favor the guy in the fight. But I don't think this is going to be an easy fight. I think if these guys can exploit the other guy's weaknesses, they have the ability to make it an easy fight. But I know, because I know if Joshua isn't really deflecting those punches, especially a right hand from Wilder, or he's not on point with his slipping, like he likes to slip, and Wilder land one of them right hands, man. I know for a fact that, well, I'm not gonna say for a fact, but I will put my money on it that Joshua legs will at least start to do a dance. Now, can he stand up to it and come back with his shots and hurt Wilder and get Wilder off of him and make him respect him? I've seen somebody do that to Wilder. It was Luis Ortiz that has got hit with a good shot against Wilder and got him up off of him, but also seen him get hurt and dropped. So I don't know, man, but it just seems like when Wilder lands that right hand, he does make your legs do a dance. I'm not saying every right hand that lands, but especially those ones that these guys aren't seeing. But if Joshua can find a way to take away that right hand, then I think Wilder might be up shit creek, man. If he gets his, that's one thing that I think about when I watch Wilder is if a guy's able to take away his right hand. Um, some of the ways I've heard pros and trainers talk about taking away a guy's right hand is just step right to him. Now, some of you may think that's suicide. I'm not saying walk in there with your hands down, get punched in the face, but step to a guy, smother him. You know what I mean? So his right hand isn't even is not a threat. Step right to him. But I don't think trying to hang out on the outside unless you're trying to make him reach with it. But I don't. I mean, Wilder wants to throw a long right hand, so I don't see standing out on the outside. Although Joshua has a long reach himself, I just don't see how that'll benefit him. Trying to stand on the end of a long right hand from Wilder. I think Joshua's best bet would be to step to him. But Rockstar 1996 says, "How you doing, Mr. Boxer? What's good, man?" Jeremy Brigham says, "Appreciate you doing this chat this morning. Listening while at work. What's good, man?" The Celtic, he says, "Boxing wise, Parker is better, but Joshua is big and powerful and has that reach." I think Parker is quicker. I think they both got good skill set. To me, I'm favoring Parker's just all around quickness, not just quickness with his hands. I think he has the quicker feet. I think he has quicker reflexes, reaction time. I just think he's the quicker athlete. The Uso was good, man. Rockstar 1996 says, "I'm very late coming to the, or I'm very late, so have you talked about Trey Morrison yet? I enjoy watching him fight, but feel he's more suited for cruiserweight." I actually did another live stream earlier, and that's the one where I talked about Trey Lippy Morrison, talked about Joyce and Chisura, Darmani Rock. Who else I talked about on there? Jermaine Franklin, Cassius Chaney, um, Ivan Deichko, just some of the other prospects, man. But um, Trey, the kid got heavy hands, man. He got heavy hands, and he has a story behind him. He's a son of Tommy Morrison, 14-0, 14 knockouts. He has Freddie Roach in his corner, so there's a lot of things there to make for a good story. Showtime has showed interest in him. He just came back a few weeks ago, got a quick knockout victory. I think it went a few rounds. Or did it go a few rounds? got a knockout victory, man. So before he suffered some injuries in camp, I know he hurt his hand and then he had a big gash over his eye that set him out for pretty much the whole damn year of 2017. So hopefully he's in the ring this year a few times, but he got some networks interested in him, man. So to me, as far as the guys that are coming up that are in that, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 0 range, I think he's a guy to definitely talk about that's coming up with those guys. So, like I said, he got a little following down there in Oklahoma on a regional level. So if he can keep building and adding to that, we'll see where it goes. Gareth Wigmore says Joshua intentionally bulked up to fight Vlad and then Pulev, but ended up fighting Takam, and that extra weight was a disadvantage. AJ will be lighter and 100% prepared to destroy Parker. Well, I think AJ's the type of guy that's 100% prepared to destroy everybody who goes in there and fight. Mr. Boxing, do you follow Hatman? You and him, my faves. You for US, Hatman for UK. Yeah, I've been watching Hatman when he had his other channel. I've been watching Hatman for damn near shit 8 years, 9 years now. 8 years. I've been watching Hatman for a while. When he had his first channel up. D Uso says Parker is looking very trim and hungry. Came from that Samoan poor Uckland boy background. Like myself, Samoans have so much to prove. We are the minority. Duke Oden 7458 says Ruiz is underrated. Yeah, I think he's underrated, man. Like I said, I don't think the guy's a world beat or anything like that, man. But I do think the dude is a top contender. He's up there one of the top. I think he could put a good fight together against any of the other top contenders, and it wouldn't surprise me if he won those fights. So I think people look at his physique, man. They just say, "Oh, this dude," he doesn't look the part. But to me, he goes in there and he tries to fight the part. He comes to get it, man. Jay Royal says, "Damn, I finally made it on one of these live feeds. Thanks for doing what you do, Mr. Boxing. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate you saying that. Good that you made it." Ascension says Joshua fans are way too confident. Fight is 60-40 at best. Yeah, I think it's a close one, man. I think it's a close fight, and I've been watching their styles for years before they had titles, and I always thought if them two get paired up, I always at first I was like, man, this dude just looks like a smaller version of Joshua. But then when I really started breaking down their fights, similar in some ways. They want to go in there and destroy guys, but they go about it differently. And I know that Parker, he won't force the issue, where I think AJ will be more likely to force the issue to try to get you out of there. Mr. Meaner says, I know that everybody says it from the experts to the casuals, but as far as I can see it, Joshua has faster hand speed than Parker. Maybe his combos are repetitive, but they're fast. See, I don't think you have to be a casual or anything like that. I mean, to me, it's just when they throw punches in combination, even when I watch them train, to my eye, it looks like Parker's a lot faster than him. Um, Now that doesn't mean that Joshua is slow. I just think he's a little bit faster. Just like Andy Ruiz Jr. When he puts them together, he has very fast hands. Doesn't mean that Joshua's slow. To me, it just looks like Parker's a little bit faster. I'll give him that edge in that department. But that's not to say that Joshua's slow. Lawrence Williams says, this is my heavyweight slugfest week. I'm watching Moore Cooper. That was a damn good fight. And then Galata versus Sanders. Yeah, them is some slugfest, man. Moore and Cooper was crazy. I actually did a post-fight review on that fight. For those of you that don't know, man, you could type in Moore versus Cooper, Mr. Boxing today, and it'll pop up. That was a damn good fight. Cooper, man, that dude to give you some tough fights. You see what happened with Evander. Um, Smoking Burt Cooper. Duke Golden says AJ doesn't let any fighters in the ring, to my knowledge. I mean, I guess, man. I guess this isn't just any fighter though. You know, what I mean, there are some guys that shouldn't be categorized as just any fighter. I think this is this. I think this would be a special moment. I see some fans saying, he shouldn't let Wilder get any shine off of him and things like that. To me, I'm not looking at it like that, man. Like it takes two to tango. You know what I mean? So they're trying to make a fight between each other or get the fans really behind it to want to see it, even more than what we already do. I'm telling you, man, it'd be a special moment if they were face to face. The internet will is going to blow up, man. It's going to blow up. There's going to be all types of memes and people going to be talking about it. That image will be used on YouTube hundreds of times. I'm trying to tell you, the video I will upload will have an image of that as I give my commentary. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with it, man. It's not like he's gonna go in there and try to fist fight the dude. You just want to go in there and let him know, hey, man, let's make this fight. I don't see what the big I don't see what's wrong with that. I really don't. I do not see what's wrong with that. I know what the rebuttal is. Make have sign a contract. Well, yeah, well, duh, shit, that'd make it even better if we knew that. But just because you're going in there without a contract signed, so what does that mean? That's going to hurt getting a contract signed? It should help the situation. Like, damn, look at it. Look how these fans reacted to these dudes being face to face. This is powerful, but that's just my opinion. Mr. Meaner says, if Parker does win, though, what happens next? I think I'm damn near. I scrolled up too far. Now I'm scrolling down. Let me see. I think I've answered some of these questions a grip of times. Dopamine says, agreed. It's not just business, it's show business at the end of the day. Yeah, I definitely, like I said, man, I definitely don't see nothing wrong with it, man. Somebody says, does Parker have a rematch clause too? I'm not sure. I don't think he does. Um, I think that just goes for the champ. Well, he's a unified, or he's not unified, but he is a champion also. He has a WBO title, but for the A side guy, and that's Joshua. That's what I think. I think it's just him with the clause. I'm not sure, so that's not written in stone. When you guys leave it in the comment section if you know that about the contracts. Is there a can Parker get a rematch? I'm not sure though. Hollow Fist says I have yet to see AJ even beside Wilder. I think there's some intimidation there. Um, yeah, I've never seen them face to face or side by side or have a conversation or chop it up about anything. I've never seen that. Kelly Harley says Wilder shouldn't jump in the ring unless it's been cleared pre-fight. Otherwise, he'll be arrested. The police won't know who the hell he is. Seriously, this isn't in London. This is in Cardiff, Wales. Well, I guess they'll know who he is. I mean, he'll be sitting there doing the commentating. Now I think they'll know who he is. I don't think they'll say, "Oh, who," especially if Wilder shows up with like his belt. I think they'll know who he is. You know, If they can get a agreement pre-fight, great too. Look, whatever they have to do to just make that situation happen for us, the fans. So they gotta, if fucking Joshua wants it, which I think it'd be weird, because to me it's like, what's the worst can he do? Is the only thing he's gonna do is just challenge you to a fight. I highly doubt Wilder goes in there and tries to fist fight him or do something ridiculous. Look when Tyson Fury jumped in Wilder's face. Wilder didn't get act too crazy with him. He just said, okay, it was Tyson Fury that was doing all the theatrics. And a lot of people say, well, Mr. Boxing, see, when Fury did it with Wilder, see, nothing came of it. See, so what's the point? Well, I mean, you also got to take into the fact that Tyson Fury went on a drug binge and you know, fucked over his own career. It wasn't like because negotiation between him and Wilder broke down or nothing. It just shifted. Well, first of all, he had a rematch with Klitschko, and then all that fell apart due to him and what he was doing or whatever. Just shit was taking place outside the ring. So it's not like because negotiations broke down. St. Cruz and what it do. Hollow Fist 90 says Wilder was moving towards Miller when he tried to step in. Yeah, I seen that. Like when I was watching it live, I'm sitting there like, because it was Jim Gray and it was Wilder, and I just seen Wilder kind of flinch at somebody. I was like, who the hell did he flinch at? So as I'm watching the fight, I had no idea what was going on, but I was sitting there thinking like, who in the hell would be crazy enough to go try to approach this dude unless it's another professional heavyweight? You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking. So when I actually got on the internet, and the internet, information comes fast, so I knew it was Jarrell Miller. Then I seen a interview of Miller. So then I'm thinking, well, to me, it didn't look like it was Wilder saying, I don't want you in the ring with me. It was people out them holding him back. And Wilder went to go flinch at him. And Jim Gray was like, hey man, you've hit enough people tonight. So not like Wilder was, from what I seen, looked like he would have welcomed his ass inside the ring. But at the same time, the difference between that situation and this one is there's no high demand for Wilder versus Miller. Although style wise, I love to see that fight. But the fight we want to see, man, if AJ is to beat Parker, we want to see an undisputed fight. So the demand for this is a lot bigger than that. To me, that's just like a side order, man. Like nobody besides Miller, and shouts out to Jarrell Miller, but besides him, he's the only one that's clamoring for this fight right now. Wilder and Joshua face to face inside of a ring, even to just hype it, is way more intriguing than Miller jumping in against Wilder. Although Wilder and Miller have good banter when they go back and forth. For you guys that haven't heard that, I posted a video. Them guys were on a radio station together. I actually got the audio on my page. It was good banter, them going back and forth. Very entertaining, but this situation is way more meaningful. Blood boxing, what it do, man? DOG215 was good, bro. He says, shoulda, woulda, coulda talk. People let it go. Too much crying for men. I'm not sure what y'all talk about, man. Blood says no fighter is the same at 40 point blank. Nah, and I don't believe that either. I think some guys look phenomenal for a 40-year-old, and give good performances. But yeah, I totally agree with that, man. Once you're out of your physical prime, shit, you're out of your physical prime. Um, so yes, I do believe athletes are a lot different when they're especially in their 40s. And that goes just not for boxing, but a lot of other damn sports too. Uh, but I do think that a guy can put up a damn good, have like a last hurrah type of situation or put up good fights. But yes, I do agree you are a different fighter when you are 40 or older. Some guys when they're 35 or older, man. Some guys even break down earlier than that. Guess it just depends, what fighter we're talking about. Truth Holder says if you want to see reflexes, look at AJ's counter punching and combo follow-ups. Yeah, when Josh was fresh in fight, especially when he's fresh, he's a good athlete, man. He's a good athlete. Now, when I'm saying like reflexes and stuff, and I don't know if that comment was directed towards me or you're going back and forth, but just reading that though, this is what I would have to say about it. Just I just don't think he's the quickest though. You know, he has pretty decent reflexes, but it's not like the quickest. I think Parker is a little bit more is quicker than him. I just think he's a quicker athlete. But you know, it's not like AJ has no reflexes at all. You know, you're not gonna get this far, even though he only has a handful of fights, but you can't get to this level, uh, not having some damn, pretty decent reflexes. George Rodriguez says, very refreshed by your views. Nice to see some neutral and honest thoughts. Uh, Joey Ocean says Ortiz was 59 years old. He was 59 years old when he beat him. Boy, y'all keep boosting this man age up, man. How old is Ortiz, man? Seriously, y'all. How old is he? Is he 39, 49, 59? I'm seeing everything. Mr. Meaner says Klitschko made AJ look good and Ortiz made Wilder look good. If they gone down like Martin and Stavern, that would have made them hollow victories. St. Cruz and says Wilder versus Joshua this year. Brazil is next. Pop Players says, "Come on, bro." Or he's talking to somebody. DOG215 says boxing is mental. Vlad is weak. Fury knew it. You're done when you ain't no killer. Don't matter how much you throw. A perfect combination. Um, I think Fury was getting. I think Fury was getting in Klitschko's head, man. Just with his antics, man. Just with hey, Fury's a funny dude. I was watching that show, and I watched it again. What's the name of that damn show out there in the UK? It was him and David Hay, and they were hyping up their fight, but they're like in that studio that looks like it's in a gym. And I think Fury had on all white. Man, that shit was funny. That shit was funny as hell. He kept getting under David Hay's skin, man. If they would have fought, I think Fury would have dominated David Hay. He would have made him look silly. I really think so. I really think he would have made him look silly. Blood Boxing says Wilder versus Brazil or White, either is good. Yeah, yep, I totally agree with that, man. I think those are two because both of those guys are top two. You know what I mean? So a lot of fans won't be saying, "Oh, he's fighting a number eighth rated guy," and I would say that shit because I hate when I see that, man. If one or two isn't available to fight, okay, I understand that, but I'm a big believer going down. Just keep going down in order. You know what I mean? Don't just say, give me the number nine guy. You know what I mean? I think ranking should mean something, man, but I guess that'd be too much like right. Political access rematch Ortiz. Um, if Ortiz were to fight Wilder again, it wouldn't be a bad fight, but it's not something I want to see right now. I would like to see Ortiz come back, get a good victory, and then get another shot at one of these titles. But eventually, but I think there's some other fights for both of these guys out there. I don't think we need to see that again. And I like rematches. I'm not saying that I'm not a fan of rematches. I like rematches, but in this situation, I'd rather see another matchup. I'd rather see another style matchup, not only for Ortiz but for Wilder also. Kelly Harley says you can't compare Ortiz with Klitschko. Ortiz isn't on Vlad's level. Never level. Never was. Never will be. Jesus, Ortiz only got okay to fight on Saturday. What are you saying? It's Saturday fight day because of his blood pressure. Okay, I don't know when. Okay, because of his blood pressure, Martin was standby. When did they declare Martin as standby? From my understanding, it was Brazil was the one that was on standby. So when was Martin on standby? For one, and for two, you can compare Klitschko and Ortiz. It's up to you to decide which one you would prefer, which one you think is better. Look, on an all-time ranking list, of course I'm rating Klitschko higher than him. I'm talking about them as just fighters in 2018. I'm not talking about his overall resume, his historical rank. Yeah, there's no comparison, but just the guy in the ring in 2018. You know what I'm saying? Well, Klitschko uh, was in the ring 2017, but you get what I'm saying though. What guys what Wilder and AJ had to face in front of them on fight night. I'm breaking it down like that. I'm not breaking down their resumes or who's the greater fighter overall, so I'm not doing that. But you still got to break down styles and what's in front of you. To me, they're two totally different fighters, but they're pretty damn good at what they do. Hollow Fizz 90 says Wilder should fight Povetkin, rack up another cheat. That's a fight I still want to see too. I always forget to mention that. I still want to see Wilder versus Povetkin. I still feel like there's just some unsettled business right there. I still want to see that fight. Um, Stavern had some testing problems going into that Povetkin fight. He still, well, the WBC still find it fit to give him a shot. Then he had something else that took place. What he wasn't around when they came to test him, but I think they cleared it. But he said he's going to be at home and they showed up to his gym or something like that, or he's going to be at the gym and they showed up to his home or something. I know he had that issue. Uh, that was being talked about in the summer. But anyways, he ended up getting a shot again. You know what I mean? Without really doing much of anything. He didn't do anything. He scraped by Derek Rossi, got dropped in that fight. Um, so shit, he got another shot, and then the stuff that's happening with Ortiz, the shit what happened with Latif Coyote, and then what happened with his blood pressure or whatever hell was going on with that, and he got a shot. Povetkin has had his situations. I still would like to see that fight, and I think that'd be a good win for anybody that can beat Povetkin. If we're trying to get out the old guard, Povetkin is one of those guys that was a part of that old guard going into this era of heavyweights. You know what I mean? And like I've always said, man, I had Povetkin second best resume in the heavyweight division. This was going into the Wilder fight. I thought he had the second best resume in the heavyweight division to Vladimir Klitschko. Thomas, let me see. Thomas LJ says, "How do you think Wilder would face up against a prime Lennox Lewis?" Ooh, I have to go with Lennox in that one, man. Um, yes, I know that Hakeem Rodman has showed us that a right hand can put Lennox Lewis to sleep. I understand that, but Hakeem Rodman got some heavy hands, though. It's not like some feather fisted guy punched him, man. You know what I mean? And Oliver McCall, not really known for being a huge puncher, but um, so yes, I understand we can point to times that Lennox has been knocked out, but when Lennox was really keyed in and focused, man, he, I mean, we can argue that he can beat any heavyweight ever, any heavyweight. You know what I mean? So Lennox is very dangerous, man. But I would favor him. I think he would find ways to rough up Wilder. And I hate doing this comparing the errors, man. But just just for the fun of it, fuck it. And I think if they got to close quarters, I think Lennox will outfight him. And I think Lennox to me has had one of the best jabs ever. I think he can out jab Wilder. And I don't know how Wilder will be able to deal with his combinations. And I think Lennox will find a way to make his weight advantage count. I think he'll push Wilder back, control him on the inside when they do get close. But I still believe that threat of Wilder landing a long right hand will still be something that Lennox will have to watch out for. But just think though, if that's all Lennox really got to worry about is a long right hand, This, that'll put him to sleep. I understand that Wilder has added that little check, well, kind of like a left hook, and he likes to pivot off that front foot. I know he's done that, but I don't think that'd be enough to control Lennox Lewis. Maybe Bermain Stavern and guys like that, but not no Lennox Lewis. Um, just think Lennox too savvy. I see Lennox beating Deontay Wilder. I can't wait to scroll down and read the comments on that one. The Fox Strikes, what's up? He says Wilder beating AJ's past opponent adds to building the fight. Yeah, but also beating Ortiz should add to building the fight too. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that that doesn't. And another way for me that I'm thinking to build a fight, Don King used to do this a lot back in the day, is guys can fight on the same card. Or even if it's not the same venue, they can be live main events from their own venues, but on the same network. You can do that type of thing. Where, AJ would be both fights get shown on the same night or the same day or whatever, and just try to do it like that. But I know there's a time difference, but they can work it out. Maybe AJ can come here, Wilder can go, or just work the shit out, man. But yeah, I understand if, let's say, Wilder goes in there and sparks out Dillian White, or he goes to decision with Dillian White. I can see how that's going to be portrayed. Oh damn, Wilder beat him easier, or man, Wilder struggled against him. That's cool, but to me, man, what's much more building a fight than you beat a guy who was looked at as a scary guy that nobody really wanted to fight, or nobody was calling saying, "Hey, give me Luis Ortiz." You know what I mean? No matter how old people say he is, whatever, nobody was really screaming, "Give me Luis Ortiz." Guys were saying, "Oh, I need more time to train for Luis Ortiz." That's what guys were saying. I'm telling the truth. Miller said it and Ruiz said it. Now, granted, if they, were telling the truth or not, I'm just saying that's what guys were saying when it came to Luis Ortiz. I need more time to train. It wasn't, yeah, give me the old guy. Nobody was saying that. So to me, you beat a guy like that who is a top five guy for the last 6, 7 years, man. To me, that outweighs beating Dillian White, in my opinion, at least. But I get where y'all coming from with it, but I just think shit, beating Ortiz should build it up enough. Or people gonna act like they don't know who Luis Ortiz is too? Are we gonna play this game? The only people we know is fucking the UK fighters, like. And maybe some UK fans are like that, man, but I don't believe all of them are like that, especially if you're a fan of this division. Mac J says, y'all see what happened to the last person that begged to fight Wilder, face down, face down, ass up. Um, where do you think Ortiz goes after his loss? Man, I think he should try to jump back and try to get another good fight. Possibly call out one of these lists like a Adam Konowski. I think Konowski is a guy that will come forward. It's a winnable fight. He's hittable. You know what I mean? And he's a guy that just beat Spilka, a guy that competed for a title. So I believe fighting a guy like that. Um, just try to get back in the mix. Maybe a Charles Martin. Just try to fight somebody like that. Somebody that at least has held a title or fought for the title, or undefeated up and coming contender, prospect ish type of guy. Somebody like that, and jump right back in the mix. But it's like, who wants to fight him? And usually after you see a guy lose, guys will be more willing to fight him. But I seriously think some fighters, I'm not saying everybody in the division, will be kind of hesitant to fight him because of the skill level, because he's still scary. Even though he's up there in age, he's still a tricky guy to fight. I think guys will probably look elsewhere before they try to test those waters. Duke Olden says Water will get a spectacular KO against Brazil. Yeah, Brazil, man, he very physical guy, man. He can take an ass whooping, man. Man, a dude can take an ass whooping. He's one of those guys, like I said, man, you can be at the top of the rafters and you can throw a bottle into the ring, and somehow, some way, that glass bottle is going to hit Dominic Brazil. That dude just he can he's always going to end up in some type of war or uh, to where just the leather is flying, whether it's in his favor or not. Just the type of fighter he is, man. He's tough and durable enough to where he can give a good fight, and he's limited enough to where he gets hit a lot. So it's like it's made for action TV. But just as a fighter, when I watch him sometimes, I think to myself like, damn, how much longer can he take these type of fights, man? As a fan, they're spectacular to watch. I love watching those type of fights. But how many Israel Gono type of fights can he really have? Even the Mir Man sword fight, that fight was getting a little rough and tough. Joshua put it on him, but I don't know. Asking a lot. But shit, some guys made their career fighting like that. Guys fight 40, 50 fights like that, man. So some guys are made for that type of action. Some guys aren't, man. You can't really just think that somebody's gonna be able to take them type of fights their whole career without suffering some type of long-term damage or just not being able to win those type of fights. Guys getting knocked out multiple times fighting like that. AJ cannot KO Klitschko. Rabbit punches don't count, and the man was lucid and slipping. Lawrence Williams says, I think Wilder will try to fight Povetkin if he beats Price. Wilder will only fight White or Brazil if they are the mandatory. Wilder won't fight Joshua leftovers unless he has to. Now that I think about it, man, well, like I've always said, I still want to see the Povetkin fight, but will that fight be easy to make? That's one thing we got to consider too, because both sides got a history with each other. It's not too not too clean, you know what I mean? So would that be an easy fight to make? Would it be easier to make a Povetkin fight than it would be to make a Brazil fight? I think Brazil will probably be the easiest of the three to make. Um, but we'll see though. We'll see how this all plays out, man. Hopefully it's something by the summertime. Hopefully it'll be before the fall. Give us something in the next few months here. You know. Truth Holder says Klitschko KO 53 people, but AJ got up. Yes, that is true. Dopamine says Joshua losing would be disaster for Wilder, as it would delay his payday even further. The Fox Strike says I had Vlad beating AJ prior to the stoppage. The Fox Strike says I remember those breakdowns. Get back to him. Yeah, man, I'm gonna try to get back to those breakdowns with the heavy bag, man. I like doing those videos. To tell you the truth. Both AJ and Wilder look poor against old men. Well, I guess people can question if they look poor or not, but they still won the fight. Like I always say, man, every fight you're not gonna look spectacular. Whether it's an old man, a young man, a middle-aged man, or whoever, man, a contender, a title, whoever. As long as you win the fight, it is that's what boxing is. Just win. Just win, baby. Just win. As far as your having weaknesses and all that shit, that's every fighter. As long as you win, man, you can move on. And to me, they had their spots where they look really good, and they had some spots where shit. Ortiz was getting the best of Wilder, and Klitschko was getting the best of Joshua. It's a fight. You know what I'm saying? It's a fight. It's a fight, man. You can't always go in there and look like Tyson Spinks. You know what I mean? AJ ain't getting in there and just doing the Charles Martin to everybody. Wilder's not gonna get in there and give everybody that damn Spilka treatment and just put him straight to sleep. Sometimes you may have to knock a motherfucker down 2, 3 times to really get him, to get him out of there. If Joshua never mentioned fighting Vlad, now I don't know if you guys got a question for me, man, at me so then I can know. Lawrence Williams says I'm the only one who's seen Wilder drop Ortiz with a jab in the second round. Yeah, somebody actually came to my page about that. Like from the camera angle that I seen, somebody showed me that a jab. The picture that I seen was from up when I'm watching the fight. Up above, I couldn't really tell if the jab landed or not. I believe there was a picture of a jab landing. To me, I thought it was more of he lost his footing. Now, if you want to say he lost it because he got jabbed in the face, he didn't see it coming. It caught him. It was one of them little flash knockdown shots. I guess you could argue that because yes, there was something that landed as he went down, but I thought it was more of just his footing because his right foot, you can see Wilder's feet was right, or his feet was right on Wilder's foot. And as Ortiz was coming forward, Wilder's foot was on Ortiz's foot. I'm sorry, and he kind of lost his footing as Wilder was trying to pivot out. He was pivoting to his left, and Wilder had his right, and Ortiz had his right foot right there. So to me, it looked like more of that. But neither here nor there, man. I mean, he knocked the dude out at the end. He got the win. So that's what it looked like to me when I was watching. But I didn't go and um, watch it a million times and freeze frame it. You picking Parker? They took his roids. Save your money. He is a dead meat. No, I'm not picking Parker. I'm actually picking Anthony Joshua by decision. Brody Anderson says, "How will everyone react if Parker destroys AJ like he did Kelly Meehan? Whole crowd will go silent." Hell yeah, they're gonna go silent. The whole bot, well, besides the Kiwi fans and people that genuinely think that Parker's gonna win this fight, they might not go silent. But I would be shocked, man, if for any of these two to destroy each other. I would be shocked. I would be shocked. Truth Holder says, "Haven't you noticed Parker's stamina has worsened? When you look at Parker at his older fights, his stamina looked better." Shit, the competition level wasn't as steep either. He wasn't fighting Takums and Ruiz Juniors and Huey Furies in his 11th fight. And both the guys like that and Meehan, like man, them was older fighters, way past their primes. Even at their best, they were not king of the hill or anything like that. So um, yeah, the competition level has risen too. Cornelius Burnett says, "What's up with Oscar Rivas?" I'm not sure, man. Every time I go to BoxRec and he has a fight plan, and then I see BoxRec will post it, and then a few days will go by, and then the fight won't be on there no more. I haven't really looked up on Rivas in about 2 3 months, man. So I'm not sure if you guys got BoxRec up. Somebody go on there real quick and see what they got planned for him. But every time, man, it's like every time he has something big planned, at least here in the States, it gets taken off the table because he always fails at his eye exam, man. His retina. The Amir Mansour fight was taken off the table, and the fight with Gerald Washington was taken off the table. So two big opportunities for him that he missed out on because he can't pass the eye exam. BK Boxing 8 says, "Do smaller heavyweight heavyweights have a chance against taller heavyweights? Would they need to have superior skill to get past the size disadvantage? I mean, shit, look at Amir Mansour when he fought Brazil. I know he lost the fight, and I'm not making an excuse. He cut his tongue. He cut his tongue because he got punched in the mouth. All right, so I'm not trying to make it seem like he was just standing there and he bit his tongue. Uh, just by standing there and nothing was happening to him. Shit, Brazil was trying to punch him in his face, and he tongue got chopped off and he was bleeding in his mouth. So, but that was from Brazil punching him. But what I will say is Amir Mansour is having some good moments in that fight. Even put Brazil down. Even look at when Mansour fought Gerald Washington. Um, so yeah, I think the shorter guys can they have a chance of beating the taller heavyweights, man. Povetkin is a guy that I think that I have a chance of beating some of the taller heavyweights. He couldn't beat Klitschko. Um, so and when I say when you say smaller, I'm thinking like 6'1", 6'2", not necessarily 5'10", 5'11", being that most of these guys are the shorter guys are around the 6'1" range. Um, but yeah, I think they have a chance. Haka Time says, Mr. Boxing, once we unify who gets first shot, I think winner Price Povetkin should fight winner White Brown for first shot. Your thoughts? Um, you say once we unify. If you're talking about just the unification between Parker and Joshua, because the winner of that, I want them to fight Wilder. But if there is no Wilder situation, uh, yeah, the winner out of AJ and Parker fighting Povetkin, that's not a bad fight at all. I would like that fight. Or fighting the winner out of White versus Brown. Good fights, if that's what you're talking about. If you're talking about like uh, undisputed, then I would like to see some of these other contenders fight. Uh, Miller fight White. I think there should be like a few more little fights go on before they get the winner of that. But as far as a quick turnaround fight to fight Parker or Joshua, um, I don't think those are bad fights. I think Povetkin's going to steamroll Price, man. If Price finds a way to win that fight, in my opinion, that will be one of the top 10, shit, probably 5 upsets at heavyweight over the last 15 years. Dopamine says Dwyer is picking Parker because of his movement and elusiveness. I think it'll definitely give him some problems just because I seen Takum do it. And when I say problems, I'm not saying he was losing rounds, but it just made him think and have a different damn game plan. He even was jabbing to the body in that fight, something that he doesn't normally do to guys. But I guess that's Dwyer's opinion, though, if he thinks Parker's going to win. St. Cruzan says Josh was very good, but Wilder is more fluid in the ring. Yeah, I think Wilder's more elusive than Anthony Joshua. I think he's more elusive. Let me see. What should I watch, y'all? Let me see. Let me turn on the fight, man. I've watched damn near. I've watched everything on Joshua and Parker, man. There's nothing really else to. It's just one of them things now. It's just like we keep talking about it for the fun of it, but it's just time to fight now, man. I've watched these fights over and over, from fucking Kevin Johnson to Klitschko to just all of them, man, over and over, over and over and over again. Both Takum and Ruiz, Dimitrenko. There's really nothing else to. Let's go. Let's go Ken Norton. me see. Ken Norton versus. Ken Norton versus who, y'all? Ali? Nah. Seen them. I've seen them fights too many damn times. I've seen fight too many damn times. Let's go Norton versus. Let me see. Let's go Norton versus Jimmy Young. Let me watch that one again. I ain't watched that in a while. Standing 8 count said next people will be saying Ortiz would have stood a chance if he took his Zimmer frame into the ring. Oh, 10 players in the house. What's up, man? For years, Felix Savan beat up Oleander Solis. Solis beat on Luis Ortiz with Telly. Made Solis look like a bum. Yes, Solis did beat Ortiz up when they were amateurs. He beat him quite a few times. Um, there's another nice amateur I liked out of Cuba. He fought in those 92 games. Roberto Bellado. I actually did a video on him, man. He was damn near the size of a middle. As far as his height, he was short. He was only like 6 feet, but he looked like a damn middleweight in there beating up on them dudes in the 92 games. He ended up passing away shortly after that. Um, man, that dude has some skills, man. Just his the way he moved his head, his footwork, throw good combinations. He's had good movement, man. The Fox Strike says White is WBC #1. Okay, I knew it was White or Brazil. I haven't looked at the rankings in a little bit. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I knew it was either White or Brazil. Fat Apple says, what's good, man? Gareth Wigmore says, AJ isn't a hype job. Half the fights are Wilder, but 10 times better. 10 times better resume. Okay, I understand you saying it's better, and the Klitschko, that's a Hall of Famer that's on the resume. Whether you want to say he's older or he came off a loss, or if he was off for was it damn near 2 years or whatever, or however long it was it 16 months or whatever? But just but how is it 10 times better though? Was it? I just don't get how it's 10 times better. Somebody says, "What is your final prediction for AJ versus Joseph Parker?" I got Anthony Joshua by decision. Adam says, "How boring was the Huey Fury versus Parker fight?" Yeah, it wasn't action packed. I'll say that much. It was not action packed, but that's how Fury fights, man. You know what he's coming to do. He's not coming in there to knock nobody out, or you know, uh, he's not really coming to do that. Especially in fights where he feels as if he needs to use his back foot game. That's what he's gonna do. That's pretty much what he's gonna do for majority of all of his fights. George Rodriguez says, "What do you think of Lucas Brown being knocked down in the first round by two journeymen as well as Chigaev?" Well, Chigaev was a good heavyweight, man. That dude was a for a while he was a top five top of heavyweight. Not like he's just some bum. I know when you look at him, he's a shorter guy, southpaw, smaller type of heavyweight, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he was a top five heavyweight for some years. You know what I mean? Um, Brown went down, okay, but he got up and won the fight. As long if you get up and win fights, if you get knocked down, you get up and win the fight. You got up and won the fight. People are so like infatuated with like getting knocked down or losing a fight. People, tend to think your career is over or you've been found out or exposed. It's like shit. You think two heavyweights get in there swinging leather and the other one goes down? You don't think that there was a that shit wasn't possible before the fight started? Afro Bay says, "What do you think about the Ring magazine stripping Fury of the title? Do you still consider Fury the lineal champion, or has he lost his claim to the throne?" Um, Dude been out for a long time, man. At first, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. What's your name? Afro Base. I was one of the guys going around, but this was like a year ago at least, saying that, hey, man, he is the man that beat the man. People were. Then I had some people arguing with me, like, what? That doesn't even make sense. That's a term that been around that doesn't even make sense. It's like, okay, Klitschko was the guy that was looked at as the best. It's crazy I even gotta fucking explain it. But anyways, you guys know what I'm saying, man. But Fury's been out for so long. It's like, yeah, that Klitschko win was great. It freed up the titles. You did something that no man was able to do for 10 years or whatever. Great. And then you just disappeared on us. You just gone. You know what I mean? So the heavyweight division doesn't stop. It doesn't say, okay, we're going to take a break because Fury's not here. Now we got to come back and prove that he's the man against these guys too. Klitschko's not walking through the door no more. At least I don't think he is, but he's not walking through the door no more. You got to prove that you're the best among these guys. Now there's another guy that actually knocked Klitschko out or stopped Klitschko, and it was Joshua. So you got him, you got other guys out here. Time doesn't just stop because you beat Klitschko. Yes, it was a great moment as far as him being able to go there and get a victory. It wasn't a as far as the fight itself. It's not gonna go down as a slugfest or a classic like that. But it was the fight that freed up the division with the other titles. We know that he didn't have the WBC, but you got to prove that you're the best against these guys too, man. But I think that shit was taken away from him because he's been out for so long, man. Just way too long, way too long. But yeah, the last time we seen him, he was the guy that beat Klitschko. As far as being in the ring, well, if you want to count when he went in there and got in Wilder's face, but Sniper 11 ND says, "Mr. Boxing today too. What I don't get is when Dominic Brazil gets an other ass whooping when he steps up in levels that he thinks it's a good look for him. It's actually kind of sad." Yeah, I think he's gonna get hammered, man. I think the dude's gonna get hammered. Um, the dude can just take. I mean, I guess when you can take punishment like that, you will give yourself a chance. I guess. I think he believes that he can take Wilder's best shot. He's gonna try to give it back as good as he's taken. I just don't see it holding up like that for him. I think he's just way too easy to hit, way too easy, and I don't think that Wilder's gonna be easy for him to hit as he thinks because he punches slow. It is the heavyweights though, but Wilder's a quicker athlete than him. I think he'd be able to get out of the way a lot of those punches. Now he is a tall, rangier type of guy, so maybe he'll be able to land some leather here and there. But I just think Wilder's a better fighter than him, and I think it's harder to hit Wilder. Uh, in Brazil, if they fight each other, I believe is going to figure that out. Standing 8 count response to Afro Base saying Fury is still lineal champion. He can't be stripped of that. He can only lose that in the ring. Um, but he still got to come back and prove that he is that guy though, man. You just can't do this shit and just come back out of nowhere. Um, I mean, that shit was damn. When was the fight? Was it November of 2015? I mean, dude, we're talking 3 calendar years. You know what I mean? Like you just can't come back 3 years later saying, "Hey, what y'all remember me?" I mean, I get it though. Other fighters have, but at least they have to come back and prove it though, man. You have to come back and prove that shit. Cause now another guy didn't done what you did. Somebody else beat Klitschko too. So now it's like shit. And then Klitschko retired. But it's still a good win though, because when he did it, I get the importance of his win, man. But that shit was 3 calendar years ago, man. Gareth Wigmore says speed only goes so far when you're facing an opponent that levels above you. But y'all came with this levels thing, man. Like, yeah, speed can offset a guy though. Speed and head movement can offset you regardless of levels. It just can offset you as a fighter. Nope, like guys aren't standing in there saying with their gloves up saying, "Hey man, I'm levels above you." I mean, they're in there just fighting. So if somebody's giving head movement and regardless of who they lost to or what levels they're on, it can offset what you're trying to do. But sometimes timing can offset speed. So it goes both ways, man. I mean, I know what you're saying about levels, but then once somebody get leveled with a fucking right hand, anything can happen in that ring. George Rodriguez says Roberto Camarelli is probably the most decorated heavyweight amateur of all time. Shame he never seen him in pro fights. Yeah, doesn't Camarelli got like didn't he go to like the four? I think he has 4 medals. I think he went to like 4 straight Olympics, man. 2000. Yeah, I think he went to 4 of them joints, man. I think he has 4 medals. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong about Camarelli. I believe he went to 4 Olympics in a row. George Rodriguez says Brown being knocked down by limited opponents, though, really does show that he's chinny. Knocked down by Scott, Belshaw, and Travis Walker is very concerning. Look at Chagaya's record. He's no puncher. You don't have to be a puncher to knock somebody down though. And Travis Walker, believe it or not, once upon a time was an undefeated prospect. What did they call him? The Nightmare or something like that. But he was an undefeated prospect at one point in time. A guy who was just known to have some good power. So I don't think being knocked down by Walker is just something to completely scoff at. The guy can punch. These dudes are damn near 250 pounds, man. That you're talking about. Not like there's some, just but I get it. Walker's no former champion or anything like that, man. But when you're in there throwing leather, though, man, and your chin is out there, you get caught. Shit can happen, man. Damn near Burt Cooper, damn near stopped Evander Holyfield. You get what I'm saying? And I know Holyfield is levels above him, right? Levels and all that. You throwing leather, man. You're chucking leather up in there, man. That chin get touched, anything can happen. Maybe I'm just being too simple minded about it, but that's just how I look at it. You in there chucking leather, man. So I mean, is Cheney getting hurt? Was like, well, I got hurt, but it was against that guy though. Being hurt is being hurt. Yes, I understand being hurt against Klitschko is a lot different than being hurt against Travis Walker. I understand that, but you were still hurt. We still visually saw you hurt, and you had to recover from it. So whether you got hurt by a guy that's looked at as a bum, or you got hurt by a guy that's a champion or former champion or whatever, how did you come back from that? Like a guy like Holyfield showed you on both cases where he got hurt by somebody that was looked at as a good fighter, or when he got hurt against somebody that was viewed as a bum. That he will come back from both of those type of situations. Because just because a guy's looked at as a bum doesn't necessarily mean you're going to come back. Fiddleback X says Teofilo Stevenson. Yeah, he was a damn good amateur, man. Stevenson, Savan, Really good amateurs. Fat Apple says, do you think the top cruiserweights are currently more skilled than the top heavyweights? When you say skilled, like, what do you mean skilled? Like, what is that? And that's another thing. People like, okay, are you saying they have the basic fundamentals down to a pack? Because to me, being unorthodox is a skill also. Being able to fight with your hands down, move around, shoot the jab from the hip, uh, being able to make guys miss, counter guys, that's skillful too. But when you're talking basic fundamental skills, as far as if you're an orthodox guy or if you're a right-handed fighter, you have your left foot in front of your right foot. You got your hands up. You got your jab hand probably right in front of your face, or maybe you're a type of guy that put it right where your chin is at. You have your right hand. Fighting like that, just a traditional, basic, fundamental skills. Somebody throws a hook, you duck down, not with your face pointing at the canvas, but you kind of crouch down a little bit, come back up, you slip shots, let them deflect off your shoulders, and you go. I mean, shit like that. Is that what you mean by are they more skilled? Because Tyson Fury doesn't fight like that, and he's skilled in a motherfucker, and he fights awkward as hell. That's where I get confused sometimes. People say he got more skills than him. Do you mean just like Ortiz? Don't look at Ortiz. When I say skills with him, he has the basic fundamental skills down to a T. But to me, when I watch him, there's no like awkwardness though there. Not to mean that doesn't mean anything, but I'm just saying he has that down to a T. Somebody says, are we still talking AJ vs. Parker? We can. I'm just all over the place right now, man. Dopamine says levels at heavyweight means less than at other weights because of the universal equalizer of one punch KO power. Fat Apple says skilled as in have more skills and better basic fundamentals in the total package, basically overall in comparison. I mean, let me think about that. The cruisers look like that they fight more behind your basic fundamental type of style. So I guess yeah, they have better fundamentals, yeah, probably. But there's some heavyweights that have some good fundamental skills, man. But to me, awkwardness is just as impressive, man. That's my opinion. I think it's just as impressive because it's hard to train for that. Like, how do you train for that? That type of shit makes some guys reluctant to come in on you. 76 people watching, man. Let me get some more questions. Talk about anything about the heavyweights, man. Prospects, top five, whatever y'all want to talk about. Old school. Fat Apple says, but boxing fundamental skills have evolved, and fighters like Tyson Fury, I would say, is far more skilled than the standard Ortiz skill set, the Lomachenko awkwardness era evolution. Okay, that's your opinion. I respect that, but I don't see it like that. The stuff Lomachenko's doing, he's a great fighter. He's doing a lot of unorthodox type of things, but I've seen guys fight like Pernell Whitaker. I've seen him do shit like that. Roy Jones Jr. I know he did pretty much everything wrong in the damn ring when he was fighting. So I'm not gonna say the things that are happening today. I've never seen them before. Sugar Ray Leonard, especially when he would fight flashy and do certain things. Roberto Duran was another fighter that I seen do some amazing things in the ring. So I don't believe there's no evolution, but that's just me. I just don't see it. I don't see the evolution as far as skill level. Um, some of the '80s heavyweights had some of the best skill sets. Look at or at least fighting off the back foot. Look at a guy like Tyrell Biggs. I thought he had a great skill set fighting off the back foot. Um, Guys like who else, man? Tony Tubbs have very quick hands, good combination puncher. Now all these guys that I'm naming, they're not all time greats. All right, they're not. I'm not saying that, but skill level, I think those guys had really good skills. I don't see this big evolution. Now, maybe if you want to say some of the taller, bigger guys are starting to develop better skills than some of the big, super tall guys of the past. I guess you can say that, like the guys that were like 6'9", 6'10", but I don't see no evolution. JL2457 says, Mr. Boxing, do you think AJ can take clean right hand shots from Parker? Shit, man. I don't put it this way. I don't think he wants to take too many of them. I don't think he could take too many of them. And to me, I think Parker's money punches his left hook. That's what I think. But I don't think he want to be taking too many of them. He took some good shots from Klitschko, man. Klitschko was landing some hooks and right hands on him. He didn't go down after all of them. You know what I mean? Not like soon he got hit, he went down. He took some good shots. I definitely think he can take what Parker's going to bring, but it's how many can he take? And like I said, if it's something that creeps through he doesn't see coming, his legs may do a little dance. Clint says, do you think AJ is losing too much weight for the fight? Hmm. I've always thought that AJ should be a little lighter than the 250 and 252 and all that. I always thought he should be like in the 40s, So to me, he's right where he should be. Now, if he gets below 240, I guess we'll see on fight night. That's the beauty about all this. We will see on fight night. But I always thought he should have been in the low two, maybe 245 ish, somewhere like that. I always thought that. Boxing Battenberg says, who should Fury's comeback fight be against? Somebody responded, Char. That's not bad. You guys remember that little video that came out where they went face to face? I think they were just fucking around though. But I know Char's fighting a kendo. Um, I think that'd be a decent fight. But shit, I almost want to say Fury may need like a more of a tune-up fight before he fights Char. Because one thing about Char, the dude's been in shape training nonstop. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, I picked Fury to win that fight, but I don't know, man. Like that could be one of them fights you can get upended in that fight, man. Fucking around. It's not like Fury's known for like KO power and he's going to get him out of there. His thing is to outbox you. You know what I mean? So I think he'll win the fight, but I'm thinking maybe something even a little bit easier than that. His very first fight back, and then a Char, and then step up and fight somebody else after. You know. And Chara going there with nothing to lose, man. I know he's the WBA regular title, but you gotta know what I'm saying, though. Standing 8 count says, do you agree that Wilder's style is unusual in this current division, hence why he stands out and is successful? Yeah, because you look at him and guys, so he doesn't have skill. He doesn't hold his hands up the right way they teach you in the gym. He doesn't shoot his jab the way he does everything. You're like, okay. And he was doing this shit a lot where he'll like, and I used to critique him on it too and be like, damn, man, like in the Spilka fight, in a few of his fights, he'll like jump back. Like Wilder would like jump back with his hands out to protect his chin. Like he was doing a lot of shit where he like, you know, just didn't look right, look wild and everything, man. But I think it's hard for some guys to train for that. And if there was a guy that can exploit somebody that fights like that, it's a guy like Ortiz, who's a master counterpuncher. Um, Regardless of how old he is, just a guy that can counter you, that can catch you. he's the least guy. He's the last guy you want to make mistakes against. Just put it like that. And Wilder makes a lot of technical mistakes compared to a guy who fights out of the traditional boxing skill set. Jay Royal says, off topic question, what are some of your favorite heavyweight fights from the 80s? Seem like the decade people talk about the least with heavies outside of Tyson. Um, Man, there's a lot of them, man. Holmes versus Witherspoon. Um, Ruddock versus Bone Crusher Smith. Oh man, there's a lot of them out there, man. I like the Holmes and Spinks fights. I like and some of the fights that I like, man, it was just because what was going on around the fights and what was building up the fights. But I like Cooney versus Foreman. Was that? I like Tucker Douglas. Just because of both guys. Because to me, man, I'm a fan of the jab. Oh, I like Holmes versus Carlos Truth Williams too, but I'm a fan of that jab, man, and I like watching those type of fights when the jab is being used. Some of you guys may call it boring, and some of my favorite fights aren't necessarily just slugfest, Hagler Hearns. You know what I mean? Like all my favorite fights aren't like that. It's for different reasons. Maybe it's the way that both guys are using their jab. Maybe it's the way because guys they were both slugging, or because it was a fight where they were both going to the body and it was excellent body work. So just different fights like that, man. Watching Tyson destroy Spinks is another one of my favorites. Although I know it wasn't much of a it wasn't much of a contest, but it was still one of my favorite fights to watch. Just to build up what was going on around the fight, what the fight meant to the division. Holyfield Dokes is another one. I mean, I got quite a few fights that I like from that era. Pretty much all the Holmes fights. Pretty much all the Holmes fights, man. Man, Holmes was a dude that'd get dropped, get up, fight back. Holmes was a warrior. That's another dude that fought with his hands down. That was another guy that fought with his hands down, man. You know, I was watching Holmes versus the Leon Spinks fight the other day. Not I know he's fought Michael Spinks, not his brother. I know they fought twice. I'm talking about Leon Spinks when he fought Holmes. And Holmes did an incredible job of walking Leon into right hands. It was masterful, man, because he was snapping that jab, and Leon was trying to like walk him down. And he was walking right into straight right hands. I mean, walking right into the motherfuckers. And the way Holmes was setting him up was beautiful because he had him chasing him around the ring. Then he'll stop, pump the jab, and he was making it seem as if he's going to move around again, but he didn't. And Leon come in, boom, right hand to the face. Then he'll move around, stick the jab, stop, and fight him again. Boom, another right hand. Then he'll move around, and then as soon as he stopped, deliver another right hand. And Leon was just walking right into it, eating him for dinner. Clint says, did you see on Kiwi Box that Wilder contacted Team Parker and plans to visit them before the fight? Do you think if Parker wins, he will invite Wilder in the ring? I think Parker wouldn't even care. I know Parker wouldn't say, I don't want you in the ring unless we have a signed contract. I know he definitely, Parker probably was like, shit, come on. You know what I mean? Um, but nah, I didn't hear about that. Shouts out to Kiwi Box Channel, but nah, I didn't hear about them contacting Parker. But it wouldn't surprise me. Shit, Parker was at the Washington and Deontay Wilder fight. He's at the Washington and Deontay Wilder fight. Now, granted, I know that he was there to support Israel Gono. This one, Israel was still with Kevin Barry, so I know he was there to support his stablemate. But at the same time, after Wilder Washington, Parker was in the dressing room with Wilder. They took pictures and all that. They talked, and I thought that fight had a possibility of really being made. George Rodriguez says, "Damn, can you believe Michael Grant is still going fighting Kevin Johnson on Saturday?" Yeah, I talked about that one. Man, both those guys are over the hill, man. But I think Johnson, if anybody has anything left, I believe it's Johnson. I think he has more in the tank than Grant right now, man. I remember Grant was an undefeated prospect. I mean, when he came up and started to become a contender, I remember that fight against Galata as if it was yesterday. Went down, got up. Galata's acting weird in that fight, like he did in a lot of his damn fights that was tough. But yeah, Grant showed some heart in that fight, man. Gareth Wigmore says, "Do you think Parker is better than Tua was?" No, I don't. I think he was just able to accomplish something Tua was not able, and that was to win a world title. The climate was a lot different back then than it is now, but if I had to pick between Tua and Parker, I will put my money on Tua. Downhill Kitty says, "Is this live now or a replay?" It's live. Damn, I've been on here for 2.5 hours. Holy shit. Carlton Palmer says, "So the story on some of these YouTube channels is that AJ is terrified of Wilder because he won't allow him in the ring after the fight." So, he left a laughing emoji. Well, everybody got their different opinions, man. I think a lot of fans just want to see them face to face and just have a verbal, man. Just see what's what. Because now it's on TV. Millions of people is watching. There's going to be however many people in the damn stadium, 70,000, 80,000, or whatever. And just to see these two dudes talk and just see, like, man, just to see them have a conversation. I don't, to me, that'd be great for the division. Negotiations have to start with some type of conversation. Maybe this can be, and I know they've been going back and forth in the media, and I guess it comes down to who do you believe, but that right there would be special in my opinion, man. I know well, of course we want a contract signed, but I think that will still be special en route to getting a contract signed. People just want to see it, man. Why not? Shit. Why say no? We need a contract. Let's just see it. Johnny Big Gun says, "I just joined. Who you got, Parker or AJ?" I got AJ by decision. Carlton Palmer says, "Do people honestly believe AJ is afraid of any fighter?" Fat Apple says, "Everything evolves. History needs to be respected because important lessons can be learned." Okay, that's your opinion. I don't see how the heavyweights have evolved. Like they evolved in what way? What, they're taller? Deontay Wilder's 6'7". He only weighs 214 pounds. That shit didn't Mike. I think Mike Tyson weighed 215, 217 in his prime years. I mean, what are we really saying? I mean, just because you're taller doesn't mean you're a better fighter. Lennox Lewis shit fought in the late 90s, right? The 90s or through the 90s. You know what I mean? And Wilder's 2 inches taller than him. I think Do they got the same reach? Was I think Lennox was 80 something. Somebody let me know in the comment section if you want to look it up real quick. But I mean, are we just saying that all these guys now are better than Lennox because it evolved? I don't believe that. Evolved in what way though? Like it's one thing to say it, but evolved in what way? Tyson Fury has good footwork. I've seen better footwork. I think Larry Holmes and Ali had way better footwork than Tyson Fury. Not to say Tyson Fury doesn't have good footwork. I think Vitaly Klitschko shit is probably up there with having better footwork than Tyson Fury or just as good. Power I've seen, so I'm just saying like it's evolved in what way? I know science has I understand that, but I'm talking about boxing when I'm in there watching the fighters involved it's evolved in what way? Somebody says Mike Tyson took the boxing world by storm in the 80s. Bum fighters. We need this fight. Yeah, I thought there was some pretty solid heavyweights watching them guys up through the amateurs and trying to make the Olympics. I thought there was some good solid heavyweights. I think it was an era where, we're coming on the back half of the Ali. So you had guys that were trying to fight like Ali, damn near Biggs or Tyrell Biggs, and you had guys like Michael Dokes and Greg Page and guys like that, man. I thought they were solid fighters. Fans they label everything and everybody bums with the term bum, and if that's how you feel, that's cool. But I thought those guys were some solid fighters. Tim Witherspoon, um, I like those guys of the '80s, man. And then you had Mike come in, um, Holyfield, and so on and so forth, man. Uh, Oliver McCall, Ruddock, so I like the division. And I don't think all them guys were bums, but it's kind of hard, when you're coming behind somebody like Ali. And then you sandwich that in between the birth of Mike Tyson. But, Larry Holmes' reign gets looked over. And Larry Holmes, to me, is one of the top three heavyweights of all time, in my opinion. Downhill Kitty says, I'm disappointed Wilder's not allowed to step, and I'm surprised by the decision, but I do believe Joshua reasons, and I don't think he is afraid. I just don't see why he wants to just let the dude in the ring. I don't get. I mean, he's going to get his praise for being a three title champion. Having three of the belts. I don't know. Maybe the dude feels as if he don't want his shine taken or something. I really don't know, man. To me, it's a great way to. It's a great way to hype the fight, man. I'm about to watch this Michael Dokes versus Mike Weaver fight. Or no, maybe I should watch the Weaver Tate. That shit ended dramatic. That was a dramatic ending right there, man. John Tate was another guy that was going into that '80s that was looked at as one of the guys that was going to replace Ali. Winning this fight against Weaver, man, got dropped. That's what let you know, man. Anything can happen in these fights. It's not over till it's completely over with. Dokes versus Weaver won. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this Dokes and Weaver fight. Clint says, I think Lennox Lewis can beat any heavyweight fighter 2 out of 3 times. He's the perfect combo of a fighter, tall, strong, long. Hated him when I was young, was only interested in KOs. I didn't know. Um, man, I like Lennox coming up. The only time I was against Lennox, only time was against Tyson. And that was one of them situations, man, where if I was to place a bet, I would have bet on Lennox Lewis. I just, in my heart, I wanted Mike to win the fight. You know what I mean? But I remember watching that pay per view, man, and I was actually in college at the time, and I watched it with some of my teammates. We had came back home, and we watched it on pay per view. Um, and I was just sitting there like, man, Lennox going to win this fight, man. But I would like for Mike to win the fight. Uh, but rather than that, I favored Lennox in all the other fights. Even the fight against Holyfield, I hated. You guys have heard me talk about this. I hated Evander Holyfield coming up. Man, I hated that dude. I hated Evander Holyfield. Man, I could not stand that dude, man. Um, but I grew out of that as I got older, man. But in my teenage years, I hated Evander Holyfield. One, because I was a huge Mike Tyson fan. Um, and Evander used to get on my nerves sometimes. Now, he's a warrior in the ring. I'm not taking away from that, but I'm just speaking from a 18-year-old version of me, you know what I mean? Which was half a lifetime, it was a long time ago. But he was a solid fighter, man. We know everything about Holyfield. I like the Mercer fight. It's one of my favorite fights of his. The second Moore fight, then the fights with Bo, the Dokes fight, even his fights at Cruiser. But then the Tyson fights and but going into the Lennox fight, I was picking Lennox to win that, and I was pissed off when they didn't give Lennox the victory. No way I thought that fight was a draw. I remember watching that fight. My mother was one of them. She was like, "Shit was a draw. He ain't do." Yeah, I remember. It was just crazy that fight party, man. But I just did not like Holyfield. Whenever he would lose fights, he would say nothing about God. But when he won fights, all praise to God, and it was God. That used to just irritate me. Like, dude, when you lose, I never hear nothing about God. You know what I mean? But his fight with Foreman was entertaining too. Even the fight with Holmes. Like, yo, Evander came to get it, man. But man, growing up, I did not like that dude at all. Damn, I hated Evander Holyfield. And I got that feeling, like sometimes when you just a fan, like you're a fan of the sport, but you're a super fan of one fighter when you're growing up as a kid. Tyson was that guy for me, man. And sometimes you get that feeling in your stomach as the fight, it's like the butterfly, but it's that feeling of, man, this shit might not go his way. And after round one of that first fight, I knew Mike was I just had a feeling that he was going to lose that fight. Because he tried to huff and puff blow the house down, and Evander had none of it. And I was just like, oh, shit. Man, I hated Evander, man. Shouts out to the legend, though, man. And then what's so funny as I got older and grew to appreciate Evander, he's one of my top 5 favorite fighters. But I think it's because I was such a Tyson fan, though, man. It wasn't like I was rooting against him to lose, but I just didn't. I was just such a Tyson fan. Like the Mercer fight, I thought he'll win that fight. Um, the fight against Ches, fights like I thought Evander would win fights now. I wanted Lennox because Lennox is one of my favorite guys. I actually have a picture of my father and Lennox Lewis from 1994. It's kind of weird when I hear people say, like the UK fans. Now maybe it was our media over here. Maybe it was guys like Larry Merchant when Lennox was starting off over here that was questioning his chin and being a Brit and or fighting for Canada and I know he's Jamaican, but it's just maybe it was the media over here second guessing him. But every U.S. fan did not hate Lennox Lewis. I hate when people say that, man. I liked his style more because I'm a big guy myself. Even when I was a teenager, I've been his height since I was a teenager. I was 6'5" when I was a teenager. So I related to his style. Like, man, he's a big guy. You know what I mean? And he was 250 pounds. I just liked the way he operated in there and used his jab. Had a big, heavy right hand behind it. I know every fight he didn't go out there slugging with guys, but shit. To me, that's fighting smart sometimes. He knew he couldn't go in there and slug with Tua. Why? Why would you go in there and slug with Tua? Why would you do that? That'd be fucking stupid if you're Lennox. Nah, use that jab, keep him on the outside, do what you got to do to win this 12-round fight, get the hell up out of here, and look spectacular next time. But look at the Mercer fight. I mean, he has some good fight. Look how he dispatched the Ruddock. The fight with Bruno, so he has some good. Look at the fight with Galata, the fight with Grant. Dude gave us some excitement now, man. Remember when I can one day follow him and kept holding him? That shit was crazy. Fat Apple says even Mayweather evolved throughout the years. His boxing evolved. Do you think he fought the same way when he was 18? He would have beaten everyone. Come on now. No, Mayweather always had good defense. He just decided once his hands started falling apart on him, he couldn't stand there and want to slug with guys. The dude started wearing orthopedic gloves, so he had to, so his output wouldn't be as much. Mayweather always had that style, but he knew to get these networks to get people behind him to do all that. He had to be an offensive fighter. Usually, when you're that, especially coming up in those weight classes, and you're that fast and just devastating and just quick like that, he was trying to be flashy. I don't know, bro. Like I don't know how old you are, but man, just go back and look at like some Durand and Sugar Ray Leonard, and maybe you have and you just don't see it. Maybe you have looked at those guys and you just don't see what the fuss is about, and that's cool. But I don't see. No, he just changed his style because I think you're using the word evolve like it's just so much better now. It's just guys are way better. I don't see that. Like based on what? There's no big leap from the to me in my opinion from the 80s and 90s till now. It's not like guys are sitting there, put them put them put your dukes up, fighting all like it's fucking 19 you know what I mean? Guys aren't fighting like that no more. But moving your head, good footwork, side to side, lateral movement, being elusive. Look at a guy like Donald Curry when he was coming up. He had a lot of skills. Now, I think the way they take care of themselves and be able to recuperate and stuff like that has got a lot better, and medicines and better glove, things like that. I think that has evolved, but I don't think the fighter himself has. I just and I don't mean that as a slight, but you can't tell me that I'm watching something I've never seen before when I watch these fighters. Like it's not to me, it's not the gap isn't as big like that. It's like you watching basketball. The shit George Mikan was doing was nowhere near what Akeem Olajuwon was doing. To me, like that's a huge gap in talent. But right now, I don't see no huge gap from the guys back in the day compared to guys now. I don't see it. All right, I'm gonna take a few more questions. Uh, Rockstar 1996 says there's a lot of 6'6", 230-pound guys around now. We class JP is a small heavyweight and he's 6'4", 240. Do you ever think we'll see a 6'3" or under heavyweight world champion again? A good question, man. That is a good question. I'm not sure, man. I'm really not sure. Shit, it's only 1 inch away from Joseph Parker. You know what I mean? Parker's 6'4". But yeah, I noticed that too. People call him a small heavyweight. I'm like, dude, that dude is not small. You can just tell the way he's built, like his legs and his shoulders. That dude is not a small guy. He's just a little bit shorter by a few inches. But rather than that, he weighs more than Wilder. Weighs only a few pounds less, or maybe the same weight. Who knows? On fight night as Anthony Joshua. It's funny how everything has flipped a little bit, man. Because I remember being here on YouTube, y'all, and I remember people not really having interest in the division, whether it was because it was the Klitschko era and nobody really liked um, that style of fighting or whatever it is, or people didn't want to just they just did not want to get involved with the division. But it was partly due to these guys are just big and slow and fat and they look uncoordinated. So I don't know, maybe in the last 5 years now, guys like Joshua and Wilder and some of these and Fury are growing on some of the fans. It's funny though, man, how times changed just in a few years. Like I clearly remember reading comments saying that this shit was the worst era of heavyweight boxing people have ever seen. Saying these guys are just slow and the Klitschko's only win because they're in shape. I remember actually reading those comments, not just on YouTube, but shit on eastsideboxing.com, like all the websites everywhere. That's why people were not in tune with, a lot of people didn't like the heavyweights. Now, Americans, because people didn't have that heavyweight to get behind. We had guys like Seth Mitchell give it a try and Chaz Witherspoon and, guys like that, Jamil McCline and shit like that. But nobody really stood out. We even had guys like James Toney come up and have more success than some of the bigger guys that were at the division. I know Rockman won a title, so Fat Apple says anyone non-American would be hated when you have dominated the sport for so long. Well, I think fans naturally hate anybody who dominates just in any sport. Like college basketball, that's going on right now, right? People just hate Duke. They just hate them because they win a lot. In football, people just naturally they just hate the fucking Patriots. You know what I mean? It's just when you dominate a lot, fans tend to turn on the a dominant athlete or a team or whatever it is. Rare do people want to just continue to see dominance. Now, if you're a fan of that person or team, then obviously not you, but the rest of the world, majority of the time, looks at it like that. George Rodriguez says on this day in 1991, Tyson TKO Razor Ruddock. Yeah, and they set up the rematch. That was some good banter going into to those fights. I remember they were talking shit to each other going into that fight, man. And that was a dangerous fight for Mike. If you guys don't remember around that time, man, Ruddock was a legit top three, top four type of heavyweight. I know it's easy to look at his career now and say, oh, he lost to this guy and lost to that guy and lost. But you freeze frame it in 1991 when they're about to get ready to rumble. People are like, man, and Tyson, got KO not too long ago against Douglas. I know we know he came back and beat Tillman and we know he beat Stewart, but this is a different animal. This kid can punch. Ruddock has, if not the best left hand in the boxing, probably in the heavyweight division for sure. He was looked at as a dangerous opponent for Mike. Dangerous. Like I said, I know it's easy to look at it now and have your opinion, but if you were living in that time, that was a dangerous fight. Go back and watch the commentary about it, like the build up to the fight. Dangerous. Mike don't get enough credit for that win. I know because people like to look at the end result of somebody's career. Oh, he lost this and he lost that. But you also got to take into account what was being said, what was going on, what was the beliefs going into that specific fight. And a lot of people didn't know what was going to happen, including me. Yeah, I've heard that too. Downhill Kitty says about the there being a super heavyweight division. I think I heard something about the WBC. Some, yeah, man, nah, that shit don't make. Like I said, Deontay Wilder is 214 pounds, and he's knocking out. And I think he can knock out a dude that's 260, 250, whatever. Really don't matter, man. Just the dude, if you're over 200 pounds, get in the ring. Whatever happens, happens. Shit, David Hay and David Hay, Ruzan Chagaya, Vander Holyfield, they all fought Nikolai Valuev, and he was 7 feet tall, 300 some pounds. Shit, Jarrell Miller close to 300 pounds. I mean, just get in there and fight, man. We don't need no more weight classes. The last thing we need in boxing is more weight classes. Michael Furberger, he says hello from Toronto. What's good, man? All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and call it one, man. Definitely appreciate you guys stopping. This is a very long live stream, man. Was not expecting to go this long, but you get to talking about boxing, man. I can talk about boxing for hours. Like a lot of fans are here on YouTube. So I'll be doing more videos. I'll take one more question. Dopamine says, do you think Usyk could hang at heavyweight? And I've answered this question quite a few times, and my answer is yes. Why do I say that? Because I seen him dominate um, the World Series of Boxing, and he dominate guys like Junior Fa, Matteo Modugno. Did he fight Modugno? I know he beat Fa, Joyce. He dominated those guys. Easy work. Easy work. I asked Junior Fa in an interview one time. I said, "Hey man, who's the best guy you ever fought?" Before I even really get done, he said Usyk, and this is a guy that fought Joseph Parker 4 times as an amateur and beat him twice. Um, Now, does Usyk? It's not about his power. It's not that I think Usyk's gonna. It's his footwork, his head movement, his stamina. He's not gonna be afraid because you're 3 inches taller and you outweigh him by 30. He's not gonna be afraid of that. Now, has he been in there with Anthony Joshua? No. Has he been in there with Deontay Wilder? No. I understand they create a different problem for him, but just their sheer size alone is not enough, in my opinion, to just beat Usyk. I think they have to put it on him to beat him. But if a guy like Spilka is able to drag out a fight to the later rounds against Wilder, able to move and be awkward and show good head movement and kind of fight out of that little jittery, I think Usyk can have a chance of doing that. And I also think Wilder has a chance of giving him that KO NyQuil treatment. You know what I'm saying? If Takam is able to move and bend at the waist and make Joshua adjust and think and have to do other things to set up punches, I also think Usyk has that ability. Now, Takam is very durable. He's shown to have a chin at heavyweight throughout the years. I know he got stopped against Povetkin, but and then I've also heard good things from James Lee Bashir about Usyk sparring Klitschko. I know it's sparring, but um, and you put all that on top. I think Usyk is just a good fighter, and I think he is the best cruiserweight. I think he'll beat Gassiev, and he'll be an undisputed cruiserweight. So he'll have to take that Evander Holyfield route. Be undisputed at cruiser. You got to get past Gassiev, and then try to go up to heavyweight and do his thing. And he'll join that. Whoever wins between Gassiev and Usyk will join that class of Holyfield and O'Neal Bell as the only undisputed cruiserweight champions. Carlton Palmer says 12 rounds against a giant heavyweight will be tough for Usyk. And I think it also be tough for that giant if the giant ain't landing shit. Especially if he's missing them heavy shots. Especially if he's missing. If he can make him miss, make him follow him around and pepper him while he's doing it. Don't gotta stand there and have a slugfest, but just peppering shots. Just peppering them with triple jabs. The 1-2, um, duck and roll and get out the way of punches and pivot off and use his guard and catch shots and things like that. But all it takes is just one at heavyweight. Well, shit, even at cruiser, them boys can crack at cruiser, man. You know what I'm saying? But I give Usyk a better shot than most. Just put it like that, man. I know some people think I'm probably hyping him to the high heavens, but I give him a better shot than most. Just put it like that. Clint, appreciate that, man. He says, great video, brother. Guy here at the end. I love talking boxing, bro. And you one of the best that do it on YouTube, especially of the heavyweights. Thanks, Mr. Appreciate that, man. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here, man. Um, if you guys haven't, this one was about Joseph Parker, and I started answering a lot of questions here in the comments as the comments were coming in. But it was more, Parker, AJ. I did another live stream earlier this morning, or yeah, this morning that I was talking about the videos up. Joyce versus Chisora, Jermaine Franklin, Darmani Rock. Who else did I talk about, man? Um, Cassius Chaney, Simon King, the fight he had with Alexis Santos. Some of the other, up and coming prospects, man. You guys know how I do on here. I'd like to give them guys some shine too, man. So I'll try to do live streams where I'll try to talk about if I'm gonna talk about the middle of the pack contenders, I'll talk about them all in one video. If I'm talking about the higher up guys, Parker, Wilder, Josh, I'll do it all in one video. So I really don't have time, man, to just do 6, 7, 8 videos a day. And I know these live streams are long, but y'all can chop them up, man. Or maybe you got a long drive to work or something like that, or whatever it is. Maybe folding clothes or some shit, man. Just, you can vibe to it like that. But appreciate y'all that stuck around for this long, man. I appreciate that. Definitely do. Shouts out to y'all from showing up, man. I'll do more live streams. Probably the next live will be talking about White versus Brown. I did do a video about that fight. So if you want to just type it in the search box, Mr. Boxing, White versus Brown, gave a quick opinion, but I'm going to break that down. Pretty much seen all their damn fights, man. But I'll do a live stream about that one. We'll break that down. It is fight week for that matchup. Lucas Brown versus Dillian White. Till next time, man, y'all be easy. I'm gone.